It has been 4-5 months in the town of Breachill since Resme, Roshin, and Raz, with his daughter in tow, returned home. I would say since then, things in the town have been peaceful, but honestly, things in Breachill have been more or less chugging right along the whole time. It's easy to forget when you're embroiled in a globe-spanning adventure against one of the most powerful organizations ever to grace the Inner Sea regions that life continues on. Things are still happening. Buddy's back home running his farm, raising his kids. Life is proceeding apace, and for the vast majority of the world, it's just another day. But that's been your reality now for several months. You, of course, Resme, Roshin, Raz, and his adopted daughter Miravel, returned back to Breachill, certainly as heroes. Your previous adventures were not really secretive at this point. The last 2 towns that you visited either no longer exist or have undergone like massive fundamental changes. As a matter of fact, one of the grand guilds of Katapesh is now run by your prior adventuring companion, Marshall.
Yep.
The Emberbeard name now presides over the Gladiators Guild and one of the greatest mercantile cities in the world. And you know that another one of your friends is also there too, though perhaps in a slightly less public capacity. Maybe we don't talk about Trishik so much anymore.
What? He's a great guy.
He is a great guy.
He's wonderful. Don't you talk about my friend.
He is running what admittedly in Katapesh is a totally legal Pesh empire. So, he's having a good time. But perhaps maybe not as much of a public figure as the rest of you that have returned. Breachill has a long and storied tradition of producing heroes. As a matter of fact, every month, at the start of the month, they have a call for heroes where there are some issues, some tasks beyond the purview of the town guard that need assistance. It could be some livestock disappearing from an outlying farm. It could be a couple sightings of a strange monster in the woods. Could be, in the case of 2 of you, a year ago, a goblin distress call in the castle atop Hell Knight Hill.
You wouldn't think that was a thing, but it is.
It's easy to forget where we started.
Yeah.
It's been a really long... You went to help goblins.
Literally.
Because there were angry monkeys in their basement.
Yep.
And
that is where you started.
I want you to know that rat was the closest we ever came to losing a party member without actually losing a party member.
Yeah,
Buddy probably still has nightmares
terrible.
about that rat. But
I don't want to talk about it.
today is one of those days. And Buddy here, not one to lose touch with his home and his roots, and very possibly the one who dragged Resme into the call for heroes in the first place, however long ago, would be in attendance as a pair of tasks are handed out. The first, a sighting of a strange winged beast with the head of a lion and a barbed tail, almost like a scorpion, but with spines running up and down its length. Handed out to a young couple, actually, a woman who has been taking up the practice of magic throughout the last decade, and her husband, sword and shield in hand, ready to go out and make his mark, prove himself on the town, as they are chosen by head counselor Greta Gardania. Each of them turning to the crowd, bowing as the applause rolls out, each of their gazes falling directly on Buddy. The massive smiles across their face, tip of a hat from the gentleman, before they take their seats, and the second task handed out, a request for trade, actually. One of the nearby East Gary towns is wanting to reach out a bit Breachill's been pretty secular. Doesn't have a lot of contact. It's kind of runs its own thing. But that's been changing recently. In no small part due to, the teleportation circle now connecting Resme to the distant barony that she owns. A few days' journey outside the city of Cantargo. But the details of this Call for Heroes are nothing terribly exciting, and really, Buddy just enjoys maybe the fame. He at least got a little bit of it. Maybe he likes...
my wife sent me out here to, make sure nobody was getting in over their heads. So that's why I'm here. But nice to see you too, Carl.
The
Jeffrey.
door. The new fire exit of the town hall. Buddy
The
shakes.
wall at this point has been repaired. What once was simply just boarded over is now just kind of a discolored patch on the side. Painted over mostly, but, fresh paint. It's not exactly the same hue as it was before. You can definitely see where the buddy hole once was on that fateful day when you straight up ran through a wall.
Seemed like the best idea at the time.
It was great. We evacuated half the town hall.
It was a fantastic idea. No, it was great. You saved many lives that day by giving him a second exit.
It worked.
Yeah, if it
I
works.
think the second or third time.
But as you head out of the Call for Heroes, everyone filtering out of the council hall, I want to take a moment to shout out our various sponsors for the show. Because it is thanks in part to them and thanks in majority to all of you out in the audience who have supported the Two Perception show throughout the years it was running, supported the Age of Ashes and the Hook through our time on the Paizo channel, and got us to the point where we could make this Undeniably Good Time something huge and massive where we can run so much more content because we have so many more cool people to come play games with us. Arkin
Aw.
Forge has been with us for freaking ever. They are our map making software. They are what we use to put NPC art up on the screen, which you will see today. They are a really cool merge of virtual tabletop and map creation kit, which I don't think I don't have to explain why those two things together is very powerful. Being able to adapt your maps on the fly because you're in the same software you built it in when, I don't know, Buddy runs through a freaking wall. It's beneficial. It's really useful. The sounds you're already hearing, this immersive background is from Sirenscape, fully customizable. This is something we have built for the Age of Ashes adventure. It's easy to do. Go check them out. It adds so much more than I thought they would. Eldritch Foundry has been supporting us with miniatures now for some time. Their new resin releases are spectacular quality. They went to the bend instead of breaking school, which means even if there is a minor problem, it does not destroy your model. But it's not like you can't like move it with your fingers. It's not some of those like flappy sad rubber models that you can get the super cheapo ones. They are super high quality, very intricate character creation on their site. They got great facial controls
Yeah.
in particular.
They're
You don't feel like you're painting a glass figurine with their
Yes,
resin.
you don't have to worry about it spontaneously exploding here. And Norse Foundry, who have been giving us this big old bucket of dice since the dawn of time, blanketing our table with beautiful metal.
And the custom ones that we have
We
that are
have-
just Age of Ashes.
Discount codes
I
for
haven't seen the
Arkin
custom
Forge, for
ones.
Eldritch Foundry, for Norse Foundry. Code UGT Show available on any of those to give you various discounts. Those will scroll down through the panel below me throughout the show. Supporting our partners supports us. One of the easiest ways you can help out the show. If you, a little more than just hanging out, but just being here, 100%. We love you. You're great. That's all we ever need. As you head out of this town hall, buddy, you would see a couple of familiar places outside. You come out into the daylight of Breachill, this relatively small village out before you. Even from here in the center of town, you can see all the way to the city's walls, only a couple 100 feet beyond, really. Maybe 2,000-3,000 people who live here. It's a condensed settlement, but not a large one. And many of those folk, like yourself even, live in the outlying farms around the outside. Just before you, the sun sparkling off of the river that cuts through the center of town, running underneath Monument Circle, with this great plaza at the center of the village, a stone ring, a bridge across the river, but also supporting the 6 huge water towers that pump out from the river and provide most of the town's water source for the various plumbing. You would see Bo, of course, your own kid. How old's Bo now?
Oh, like 8.
8. And he is absolutely enraptured watching a woman juggle a couple of very brightly colored pins back and forth. It's a relatively simple demonstration, and knowing the woman, one that you're aware she has some very particular talents that make some of the little tricks she does, spinning them around her hands, seemingly defying gravity, a bit easier. She's got very long black hair running back down, I guess not super long, a bit past her shoulders. The sun illuminating her very dark skin at incredible odds with the brightly colored pins and her equally bright orange and blue gown, addressed as a very different style from most of the rest of Breachill. And as she tosses a couple of these up, moving to juggling 4 of them just with a single hand as she reaches down and high-fives Bo before she catches them all in. And laughing, turns around to face you. Renali, one of your companions from months and months and months ago in your adventure, who in recent times has decided to stay in Breachill rather than returning back to her home in the Mwangi jungles.
Imagine why.
Bad things happened down there. But she hands one of the pins down for Bo, and they are kind of comically large for him as he immediately tries to start sort of doing what Renali is doing, dumping them all over the ground. She sees you and smiles and raises his hand. Buddy, sorry, he was interested in the juggle trick.
Well, thank you for taking care of this mutt right here. Now, he hasn't been causing you no trouble now, has he?
No. He is not a problem at all. He is a very good child. You have raised him well.
Well, that's mostly Bonnie's work, I'd say.
It is no surprise. And she turns down to Bo. You know that back where I come from, in deep in the Lati, they have a name for your father. They called him Ndlovu Mlope.
We aren't teaching my kid any bad words now, are we?
No, there's a title. The Ekujai gave it to you.
Oh, that's right. That's the title that I told that to Bonnie that one time.
You are almost like, I suppose, a human version of Kaledi, like Renavo is.
Like a hero. Man, I was out there at the Heroes Wanted thing, and everybody's looking at me, stars in their eyes.
No, I know your mother will be cross with me if I keep you much longer, Bo. Run along.
She's already madder than a wet hen. You wouldn't even believe. I was supposed to run up to the Citadel this morning and bring some.
And she's like cracking up laughing here as Elizabeth's hand on her shoulder. No, it is white mammoth.
White mammoth?
It's meant, it is honorific. It is a title. It's just so funny.
They're calling me white mammoth?
It is because your shining armor.
I reckon that might be.
Your shining, I promise it is in good faith.
They didn't even know I ran through a wall. That's not even something they knew I was doing.
The way the sun reflects off of the metal of your armor and your hat.
Reminds them of a white mammoth.
You are like a great wall, immovable before the faces of evil. But it's so, seeing all of your people here.
Well, maybe we could change that. I mean, just between me and you, we don't have to change it officially or nothing.
It is perfect. It is perfect.
It is not perfect. Oh. I'm looking for like a grizzly bear or like a.
They do not have bears. They're not.
Okay,
bears.
well, let me think.
Mammoth is perfect, buddy.
What?
Oh, you are immovable. You have pride. You stand tall. You're.
Well, that's true. I suppose that's true now.
And truly, that is how they mean it.
Well, I'm glad you told me, because I thought it was a little bit. Well, okay, it's not like I was telling it to everybody or nothing.
Oh, it is so funny to me. Just the circumstance of how your folk would take it, just as you do. The twin leopards and the Ekujai. No, they owe you much for what you have done. And truthfully, I do as well.
Well, it was nothing that nobody else. A lot of other people would have done the same.
Were it not for you and the other friends you brought from this very town up to explore that cave, I would have died. I would not be here. I owe you my life, buddy.
I feel like a lot of that. I mean, do they have it? Now, just between me and you, what do they call a resume? Any secret names? Just between me, I need to know. I don't have to tell her either. If this is just between Mano and Mano, this is...
Losing her mind again. We're going to move over to
Well, first of all,
Ears
rude.
burning.
resume. Yeah, you got a little bit of that feeling that someone somewhere is talking about you. You would be up on Hell Knight Hill, but not in Citadel Altarian necessarily, not in the castle that you own, as you found the ancient Hell Knight deed to it early in your adventures, and they ceded the property to you, as they had abandoned it decades prior. You made Citadel Alturian?
No, it's just that I can't bear to be in the place where Tyrannus and that girl are gonna flirt, and I can...
Nikita has long since gone. She's no longer
Doesn't
here.
matter. That's where it happened.
She would have left some months ago while you were in Katapesh to continue her journeys as the emissary of the Ekujai. Renali actually would have been the only member of that traveling group's number that would have remained behind, as she has nearly no close ties down to the jungle anymore.
Well, so in the Resplendent Mansion, we have rooms that have been custom built to our liking, that have invisible servants who serve us food and drink whenever we want and do our laundry. So
And-
this makes it superior to Citadel Altarian.
But your servants are just floating magical constructs.
I've named all of them.
Okay. They're not. Ninth level magic's pretty neat. It makes your life so much better.
It is.
Your quality of life just goes through the roof when you have access to incredibly powerful magic, it turns out. But as one of these servants comes through, you would be sat at a table in your waiting area. Sitting across from a woman that you too recognize, her kind of short blonde hair cropped down short on one side of her face and down to about the shoulder length on the other. She nods and reaches out with a hand carved of white teak wood, articulated almost like marionette-like joints on her hand. You had returned Valia's arm to her, but given the time of its displacement, her control over her original hand never really, it didn't catch well.
Packed it in
And-
salt for a long time.
Yeah.
The end solution that you had found had been a fusion of that magic and an animation of this wooden hand that ends right at the wrist, her arm still functioning perfectly fine. But even though you both know these servants are not real people, they are just magical facsimiles, she would bow her head and graciously take the plate of tea. Thank you.
That's Charles.
I appreciate you, Charles.
They're unseen servants, too, which is great.
Small sip of this little cup of tea before placing it down gently before her. And thank you. Of course. I know it's your title now, but Baroness is still...
You can call me Resume.
No, I cannot.
I know you can't. I didn't. You may call me Resume. I know you're not going to.
And I appreciate the offer, Baroness Glauder, but you may continue to extend it to me each time I arrive to appoint you of goings-on in your kingdom. Barony, I suppose, but I will politely refuse it each and every time it is offered.
I know, and it's just as charming every time you do it.
Well, the construction on the waypoint is nearly finished. We have been working very closely with Miss Barktai to ensure that she has a safe station of passage. It's close enough to Kintargo that it will be no real trouble to move any that are taken in by ship to the city out to a holding area, but far enough away that it won't be terribly easy for their proper owners or any other slavers or pirates to track them down. It should be a fine shelter.
Good. Some people apparently haven't gotten the message that we canceled slavery, so we have to remind them gently.
Which you did so truly spectacularly and publicly, directly in the heart of Kintargo itself. I'm surprised that even Dahl dares to stand to question it, truth be told.
You should see what we did in Katapesh.
I've heard a wide array of dizzying tales from a litany of sources. You and your friends made quite an impact, to be certain. But this isn't all that I came to speak with you about. I have a bit of concern.
I know. Roisin won't date anyone.
No,
I've set her up with 3 perfectly good men,
I think
and she's just been disposing of them.
You misunderstand my motives,
they just
Baroness.
grow on trees, and they don't. I assure you.
I mean no intention to meddle in Miss Roisin's personal affairs. This is about the gateway.
Oh. Okay.
I know that we
could
had
talk
hoped-
about that too.
We had hoped to be able to use it as a transitory station, hoping to extend Miss Barktai's operations perhaps even to the city of Katapesh or further abroad. But, well, I've been studying it myself, as you asked, and
Did you find the dragon?
pulls out a journal. Still no sign of any kind of a dragon. There's nothing strange about the way station itself, but the way that the magical aura presents, there's something off about it.
Okay.
And she hands you over a very detailed, very technical set of notes from her research into the gateway of Alcida's Ring, into Dreamgate, that leads out to the town, to the city of Kintargo, and to the surrounding environs. There's something mildly concerning about these connections. So the gates don't connect to each other directly. That much is obvious. You pass through a way station between each side of this teleport. But they don't seem to connect even directly to that, which is, again, not news.
These
But-
Ayudara are unique. They were the first, almost like you can't even compare the science of gates to them because they're unique.
But there's something else. It's, as far as I can tell, a welling of magical conjuration, locked between the gateway on either side, either here or in Kintargo, or in Cypress Point, and the way station between them. I don't know if it's activated every time it is used, or if it's just something passive over time, but it's almost swollen. It's like a dam with too much water behind it. There's no cracks or leaks that I can find, but for lack of a better term, the pressure is mounting, and I'm not entirely confident how exactly to release it, or if it's even a problem.
We
necessarily.
don't want to release it.
But it's mounting on its own. If
I know.
we don't address this, I worry that, given time, it may address itself. I don't know what form that would take, how that would manifest.
I unfortunately do.
This dragon?
It's time that we had... We're not going to do it right now, but
No, by all that I can measure on all my calculations, and I apologize for this interruption, but
No.
you see here, and she leans over pointing at a couple of things. If there is a limit to this pressure, I don't think it's necessarily terribly near, but there have been a couple of brief manifestations, and they've been near random. There has been, on an opening, a small spray of sparks, and another time as we opened it, a bit of the stone around the frame actually froze solid. I can't find any measure or reason to it.
it has to do with Dahak.
Dahak, this is
The Dark Dragon
child of Apsu, the
God.
father of dragons.
Yes.
This is the
You see,
What would
this
the Hawk have to do with...
because he's imprisoned, and the Ayudara are what are keeping him in prison.
He's, with all due respect, Baroness, Dog is a god.
Yes.
He couldn't be simply trapped by
Oh, it wasn't simply.
Elven Gate.
And this isn't just any Elven Gate. This is the Elven Gate.
And, meanwhile, the other direction, a little further outside of town, there is a pretty large swath of the forest outside Breachill dedicated to a business known as Breach Creek Lumber. A lady by the name of Naireen Howdell runs it. It's been in operation for about as long as anyone in Breachill can remember, and probably a couple of generations before that. A little beyond its boundaries, just out in the wilds of the forest past the hinterlands of Isker, there is a figure approaching. You are one of our brand new players here, and we'll get to proper introductions for you returners here in a moment. What do we see of this man stalking through the woods?
So you see him sort of picking off some spider webs from his clothing. And like, well, dang. All right. Now where are we? This is a fancy place, ain't it?
Middle of the woods.
Kind of like it. Do I know where the city is?
You would,
Or
you
somewhere?
are
Am I just
excellent tracker, and there is
Oh, yeah, I mean,
absolutely no
I can
problem
make my
with
way through the
knowing
woods.
where you are.
Right.
But what do you look like?
Oh, right. So I look vaguely elvish, big long ears. He's got a mustache that, for meta purposes, is very resembling of Ted Lasso's beautiful, gorgeous mustache.
Olive? Love it.
He's wearing a very dark black, but sort of ratty. It looks kind of old vest, but it's not old. It's very well kept. It just looks a particular way to be more hidden, shall we say. It's more stealthy. And he's got a backpack just chock full of stuff that he's carrying, and he's got pouches like on all kinds of different places for various little like knickknacks and whatnot. And as he's walking through the woods, he'll occasionally stop and kind of look around and be like, yeah, all right. And he'll set up a little device to make sure that no one's following him. So he's as he's walking through the woods, he's setting up little landmines.
Just in the middle of the woods.
I mean,
Wait till Buddy hears about this.
Okay.
I didn't say they were any kind of problematic device for anyone that's going to touch them. I'm
Yeah,
just
that's
saying
true,
that he's protecting himself via.
We're a ways out. We're even beyond the range of the area that Breach Creek Lumber owns. So, like, you're pretty far out.
I just want to know if something's
that's for
following
sure.
me.
It'd be like hours and hours journey from the walls of the city. So it's
I am an excellent tracker, and I know that if something is tracking me, it's going to be following my steps fairly accurately. So if something comes across my path, I'm not trying to injure it. I just want to know about it. And so I have several little
doohickeys.
trinkets and doohickeys that he's just putting about as he goes forward
Fair enough.
to just alert him about what's happening.
You would travel through the woods, probably for a couple of hours through this early afternoon, knowing your destination and its direction, how to find it, but maybe not a whole lot more specifics beyond that. You're looking for Breachill, and more specifically, Breach Creek Lumber. And before too long, before the sun has moved to setting, you would be in view of the area closer to their operations, where there would be a great number of stumps laying throughout the land, much of the area cleared, massive lumberyard visible at the far side next to a pair of small buildings. Out in front of one of those buildings, you would see a pair of figures. One, probably a middle-aged woman, with relatively curly brown hair that's drawn up, not tightly, but just into a very messy and simple bun behind her. Her clothing very much function over form, but layered with a little bit of additional protective leathers, as well as a set of goggles that you can see draped around her neck. This would be Narian Haldell, the proprietor of the place, and she would be conversing with another new figure. Who would she be talking to?
So my name and everything.
Yeah, give me, what do we look like? We can start there.
All right. So a human of kind of average build, although fairly muscular.
Average build?
Average height. Average height.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm gonna have
Sell
to,
yourself.
I'm gonna have to go back to the gym.
Wow, I'm way worse off than I thought. That's average.
Scrawny, I think, right now. Average height, but fairly built out on up, top side, as far as like muscular arms and muscular shoulders. Wearing just a very simple tank top, hand wraps. She's got red hair that's maybe like a little too red to be natural, but like you're not really sure.
Red hair that makes you stop and think for a second.
Yeah, you're like,
As all red hair does.
glasses, and then she's got a scar on her cheek, but like, does anyone know what it's from? I don't know. Could be a cat scratcher on the face, could be some really intense battle that was done elsewhere. The story is different every time.
And as you're talking to Nayreen there, honestly, I kind of thought that Mar there from the sawmill accident when you were a kid, I'm surprised. Surely you got the resources to do something about that. It really doesn't bother you?
No, it's cool. Yeah, battle wounds from
a sawmill? I suppose it gives you a
something.
story to people that don't know it. It's good to have you back, Valentina. We've missed you.
Well, thank
I've
you.
missed you, honestly. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's just the way Breachill works, I guess. It seems like every time, every friend everyone you get close to, goes off on some insane globe-trotting adventure. First, it was Buddy and his friends, and... Right, but then you... And what have you been up to?
Just making my way here and there, getting in a little bit of trouble, getting out of a little bit of trouble.
You look like you've been getting through a lot of trouble. Surely you got better stories than losing a fight with a sawmill when you were 9. At that point, this man would kind of catch both your attention.
Oh, hey there.
Clearly-
Hey there, friends. I'm looking for somebody. Would you guys know where I might find him?
Who are you looking for?
Well, you see, I don't have a specific name, don't you know? I would say I'm looking for the heroes.
For the
The heroes. Them guys that was real heroic.
I'm not entirely sure how to respond to this, honestly. Are you a fan?
You could call me that. I'm kind of on a mission from God.
All right.
So I need to find the heroes. He's not real specific on the details here.
She just kind of looks at Valentina.
I mean,
Do you know this lad?
no.
Oh, I think we're going to be good friends.
I'm Nayreen Howdell. I run this lumber mill.
Well, how you doing? My name's Kalidar.
Kalidar?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, they do live here, I suppose. I'm sorry if, again, I'm certain if you can't, the call for heroes was today. That was a few hours ago.
Do you
Buddy.
think maybe Buddy might be who he was talking about?
I'm sure Buddy would be very excited to meet an admirer. As much as he tries to deny it,
Well, yeah, you could call me that. An admirer. That sounds quite nice.
Look, I'm sorry. I've got a lot to manage here to do today.
Oh well, I'm not trying to imposition on you. I'm just saying I need to get to the. You can just point me in the right direction. I'll head off that way myself.
I don't know that I'm entirely comfortable doing that, if you understand.
I see the hesitation. It makes sense. I get it. You trying to protect your people? How about you send old Beefy Arms over here with me?
Oh, well, Valentina isn't an employee of mine. She's a friend, but I'm going to commend her.
I don't have anything else going on today specific. I suppose I could show him how to find Buddy.
Yeah, that does seem an appropriate response for someone that just went off exploring the whole world in search of random adventure, I suppose.
Exploring the whole world. That sounds exciting.
There's something wrong with you Call for Heroes types, I swear it. You know, you can just have normal jobs. You can have families and live regular lives. I'm perfectly content with mine. I don't risk getting eaten by dragons or mauled by trolls or whatever it is you lot do.
Hob Incorporated.
But, sure, if you think, I mean, you know Buddy as well as I do.
I think he'd be excited to meet a fan, and if it's not a fan and something strange is happening, Buddy and I will figure it out.
Oh, I promise something strange's happening, but it ain't me.
What, are you going to take him to Hell Knight Hill?
Seems like a good place to start.
Well, fair enough. Well, it's been good catching up with you as we can. I guess don't be a stranger, Valentina. And
Always gotta come back, visit the family and siblings, so I'll be around.
she looks at Kaladar. Be safe.
Oh, I'll keep her safe.
And
Although by the looks of her, I don't think I'm gonna have any troubles.
pleasure meeting you, Kaladar.
It was a pleasure as well.
And she turns and heads back towards the buildings. Meanwhile, up on Hell Knight Hill, in Citadel Altarian, what's Roisin up to here?
So, Roisin, after her last fight with Etrix Treagle, wherein she was summarily ignored the entire time, it's never quite gotten over it.
A bit of a complex.
A little bit of a complex. She brought Treagle back to Breachill, embalmed him in a mausoleum, shrine to Milani.
You brought Treagle's corpse back to Breachill?
Totally did, yeah.
Okay, I mean, I'm
The
not
Packmasters
judging.
didn't seem to want
That's
it.
not weird at all. That's fine. Okay.
Perfectly normal thing.
He's laid in
Perfectly normal adventure decision.
He's laid in state, his little shrine. Roisin spent some money, bought a little plot of land right by the gate, which was too small for a real building. Little shrine to Milani is there. Treagle's in a mausoleum in there. All sorts of his deeds and how, the triumph of freedom and freedom-loving people triumphed over the worst slaver to ever.
Truly, history is written by the victors.
It is. And it's all there. But you know what? She's still not over it. She's really out. So she went to see Marcus. And she asked Marcus to train her to get better and get stronger. And she has not a day has gone by. She has not horrendously regretted that decision.
And as you stand in the courtyard of Citadel Altarian, and I guess the keep at its center, where normally there would be a taller building, the bailey in the center to protect be protected by the walls and see over them, there is this open expanse. Which Tyrannus and Marcus, your new Castellan, and one of your Hell Knight friends who seems to have worked more or less a station out here for the Order of the Nail, have been working to train up both some of Breachill's town guard, but also a small standing retainer for Citadel Altarian itself. Marcus, in his incredibly elaborate, ornate, black metal Hell Knight plate, the helm affixed to the top of his cuirass, not even immediately clear where the various pieces of armor intersect or layer into one another, drops the flat of the blade of his massive greatsword into the sand. Come on. Again.
Right.
Pulls it up, bracing, and the stance that he takes, one hand on the actual grip, just below the hilt of the sword, and the other has got literally supporting the mass of the blade as he holds it out, almost like a spear or a lance tilted before him. Come towards me. Use all you have.
Roisin's gonna breathe, two-handing the sword. The shield has been propped up nicely against the wall. It's not for this fight. And with a focus of magic, she'll actually blink out of existence before appearing directly in front of him to strike with the strength of a shockwave.
Give me an attack roll.
All right.
We can roll dice on this show. We're playing Pathfinder.
We're rolling Pathfinder. And
First roll of the
sometimes.
first roll of
First
book
or-
6.
And
No pressure.
her action actually, she'll split into 2 before she crushes with a true strike on top of it. So we'll
okay.
see what happens.
Oh, there we go.
I'm gonna take that 19 right there. So that's gonna be no curse up. I don't have heroism up, so that's gonna be a 49 to hit.
49 will hit as he shifts his palm, flipping the blade up and reinforcing the back of his hand to try and blunt the advance of both of these, putting his shoulder and the blade forward. What happens?
She'll splitting into 2. Destiny will shiver before solidifying on the more favorable approach. She strikes with a force that she could not muster in the fight against Treagle. Marcus having her cut down trees with her sword and haul them down to the lumber mill has bulked her up significantly. And slipping the guard, digging into the plate before the shockwave of her charge also strikes with a force to perhaps even make this damn old man acknowledge her finally.
And this does, with the fall of this, as you get a bit past his defense here, it does slide both of his feet in the grit and gravel and drop him down to one knee as you strike the blade down to the ground before him, leaving just his hand there. Very good. Very good. You see, in much of my experience, outside of a practiced formation or a proper phalanx, shields are a mistake. You do yourself much more good promoting your own defense with an unceasing offense, placing the enemy on the back foot, ensuring they can never mount a proper attack against you.
Right.
He slaps the point of the blade in the ground and hauls himself up with it. I think that's enough for today.
Thank you, sir.
You're learning well, Roshin. You take to this like a true Hell Knight.
You're a merciless trainer. I knew what I was getting into.
And I imagine much the results that you expected.
The results I hoped for.
Training is not easy. It's not meant to be. He takes the great sword over and plants it in this mount near the inside wall of the keep here as he stands it upright in this massive rack meant to hold exactly and only his huge iron sword.
Don't lie, he just sticks it in the stone.
Next to a couple of racks of smaller spears, pikes, and swords
For mortals.
along with short bows, short bows for the men at arms here in the castle. As he nods to you, dusts off one knee and removes the helmet so you can see the grizzled face of this, what must be pushing 70-year-old man. The very close cropped white hair and matching, not perfectly shaved smooth. Again, form, not function.
Yeah.
Cut down out of his way. No bother to keep it any degree of proper presentable, just the continuous rolling gray stubble he has on his chin. He nods to you and you see a bit of a different look in his face. What maybe might be a hint of pride
Oh my gosh.
coming out from Marcus. His grandpa greatsword makes his way towards the
Nice.
northern exit of the keep. The door opens before he even gets there as Tyrannus, much more lightly armored in a simple arming doublet with his tabard drawn over it, opens the door, sees Marcus, immediately steps back, lets him face through, and you see Marcus turn, look at him, and then just turn back forward and continue in the hall. As Tyrannus comes out, a much younger man, maybe in his late 20s, a little bit longer, but still short, dark hair, kind of brought back, no real growth. Very piercing green eyes.
Smoking hot.
Also a man who keeps his training very well, and even in his simple garb, very clearly well built. You can tell even just from the way he moves and walks. Practiced soldier and fighter. That was not the face I see on him often.
I think he may have complimented me.
Now, was this a compliment or was this one of these, that was passable, or that was better than your normal attempts sorts of compliments?
I'm not entirely certain, but given the fact that he didn't ask me to do it again or another 100 times, I think he may have actually been pleased.
There's still an hour, maybe even an hour and a half left of daylight.
The sun's not down below the wall. I don't understand.
And he looks from you down to the ground and sees his impression in the dirt of one grieve on his whole night plate. No.
I hit him pretty hard.
Did you humble the old man?
Is that possible? Is such a thing even possible?
I wasn't certain, but that is not a face I see often. I suppose I should not be surprised after everything you have told us, everything I've heard about your adventures in Katapesh.
Oh, after the number of vicious and monstrous trees I've felled.
After the number of vicious and monstrous globe-spanning corporations you have felled.
That's true. Quite a bit more hacks with the sword to take that one out. More than the dragon, in fact.
You... I still just don't understand how this is even possible. You and your friends, your companions, you went through a portal to Katapesh, a city all but ruled by the Scarlet Triad, and you... What is this, the thing you always say?
Cancelled slavery?
And you cancelled slavery!
Yes, that's the one, yes. What's the funny thing, actually? The Scarlet Triad, when you're a bunch of vicious, cutthroat slavers, one thing you're actually terrible at is making friends. And they've done an excellent job at not making friends all over Katapesh. So, really, well, once people knew what we were there for, they practically fell over themselves to go back us up.
I don't know if history is any indication. It certainly seems that Sphere makes as many friends as, well, friendship. And the Scarlet Triad seemed to have that under control, but no, you took down the entire operation. Directly, might I add. You walked into their red pyramid and you killed them with a sword.
Well,
this isn't even diplomacy or subterfuge or an operation of months and an army. You just walked in and ended things.
Well, you know, you put it like that. It certainly sounds quite impressive, I suppose. It's just at that time...
It sounds like a dumb fairy tale is what it sounds like.
Okay, that's true, actually. You know, you climb a mountain, and it's just one step at a time, but then you turn back and you look at where you came from, and you're like, oh, wow, I came quite a ways. That's kind of the feeling I've got right now, and I'm really not sure what to make of it.
Is he flirting with you?
Oh, please.
Well, Valroshin,
Yes.
this gestures to this tiny green print.
I think I'm going to frame it, actually. I'm not sure how I'm going to put it in my room, but I'm going to find a way. I'm going to just talk to someone.
I would hire a bard and have them take it to canvas for sir. That deserves a place above the mantle.
Goodness gracious, it does, though. Well, great. Goodness gracious, that dragon right there, that was the last one. That was the most recent one, most impressive one. Honestly, that mark on the ground right there, far more impressed than the dragon, that's for sure.
You know, you're not a real person. You and your companions, you're the people that get made up in bard stories that they tell to children to entertain them. This is not a real thing that happens to actual people.
Tyrannus, Tyrannus, are you about to ask me a favor? I get the feeling you're about to ask me a favor.
Well, it's not a favor so much.
Yes, that's what I thought. No, out with it. You've been buttering me up for like a good 5 minutes now. Not that I say I don't appreciate the flattery.
So, you know this friend of yours, this Nikita.
I'm gonna hurt him. In your head. I'm gonna hurt him.
Well,
That, what is it? Ekujai.
yes.
Is that Ekujai one?
Yeah, the Ekujai, what do they call her? Tale teller, tale speaker, story
Emissary
speller.
was what I got.
Emissary. I suppose she is much of a senator. Much like Resume, actually. I wonder why they never got along.
I'm gonna smack you so hard.
They would have been fast friends, but it was like oil and water.
It seems to be the case. Although she spoke very highly of her, at least until she saw her again.
Do you have, I don't know, some way to contact her, a place to send a missive, letter, or poem?
If you tell him about it, I will destroy you.
You're not here.
I'm in his head. Her head.
What?
Yeah, we did the gem.
Oh God,
Do you have the gems
Yes!
on you?
That's true.
Oh, straight up share senses. You straight up share senses. She is here.
Busted.
Face gets a little stony. Well, Tyrannus, if you think about it, she's an emissary, right? Moving through the world to bring the story of her people to all sorts and to bring back the learning back to the jungle. If you think about it, trying to write a
This
letter...
sounds like a circuitous no.
Well, trying to write a letter to her, it's like trying to write a letter to the birds when they fly south for the winter, don't you think?
Well, the birds have nests, do they not? She has a home. Is her home not,
In the middle of the sweltering jungle, yes.
which is just on the far side of one of the portals?
Technically true, yes. Although from what Buford told me about it, the first time they walked through there, her people nearly shot him full of arrows. But they'd probably think nicely about you, I suppose. But
if I had Buddy or Resume take me, they are friends with the Agajino, or
Resume, help me out here.
what?
Tell him that he is going to get shot full of arrows if he steps through that gate. Almost certainly.
It's not helpful.
There's a dragon in there, too.
Enough of your dragon stories. All right, look. The thing with Nikita.
And we'll come back over to the road leading up to Citadel Altarian. It is about an hour's journey outside of Breachill each way. It's not particularly close, largely just because the road there is not very direct. It is kind of atop a fairly tall cliffside. It's gained the name Hell Knight Hill for a reason, after all. The castle looms over the surrounding countryside, visible from anywhere in or in the surrounding farms of Breachill. But, Buddy, just making your way down the road up on, what are you headed up to Citadel Altarian for?
Well, I was supposed to this morning deliver some pumpkin spice tea that my wife was making. But I don't know. I got distracted, and then there was the call for heroes. I'm not gonna miss the call for heroes. But she said that her and Resme had a deal, and I was supposed to bring it up to Resme, and well, it's today. She can't be that mad because I'm here.
It's like 4 p.m.
Yeah, well, I move. I move at a slow pace. I got a lot of. I got short
That
legs.
is extremely true. You move at a very slow pace. A pace so slow that a pair of travelers just, moving normally our normal speed would very easily catch up to you on the way to Citadel Altarian. Most of the way there, maybe 15 minutes out. But you, cowboy head and shining plate still clearly visible in the light streaming down through the trees on this as much a wide trail as it is an actual road that leads up to Hell Knight Hill. Kaladar and Valentina would see him in the distance. A literal glittering metal beacon.
Oh, hey, bud, isn't that your friend?
Yeah, if we continue walking our normal pace, I think we'll catch up pretty quickly.
Is he all right? Is he injured? Is he just walks that slow?
That's just how he walks.
Well, it ain't that special. He's just well, he's heavy. He's got all that armor on him. Look at him. He's real shiny.
You are wearing your full plate out just...
Well, I had to go to call heroes meeting, and I gotta,
You gotta put on, you gotta
represent you guys.
You gotta present.
Gotta make sure people know what's going on around this town.
He ain't very quiet neither.
My favorite part about wearing the armor as a costume
It's so
is
loud.
we literally get to hear why armor check penalties exist.
Yeah, actually, come to speak of it, you walk very quietly. I think that between the two of you, you might actually average out to just a single person.
Well, I had some practice. I had to be real. Well, we'll talk about that later.
Buddy,
It
make
ain't
me a
important.
perception check to see if you even notice them just having a conversation on the road behind you.
I'll have you. Oh, okay. First of all, this is a good perception check for me. Okay, so that is actually a 39. What's that? 16 plus 24.
With
40.
the 39, you would absolutely at that point, 40. You would definitely hear the sounds of a conversation.
Eagle
It
awareness.
looked like a 6 to me. That's why I was like,
gotcha.
no,
Like,
but it
that's good for me.
The 16.
I like that.
I thought it was a
Good for me,
6.
man.
You would absolutely hear the sounds of conversation coming up the trail behind you, which is a little interesting because it's not a commonly traveled trail. It has been a little more in recent weeks and months as some of the town guard and again your men-at-arms, your standing men-at-arms for the Citadel itself, since you have repaired and reinforced it and built it back to its former glory, do sometimes come and go, but just due to how long the walk is, it's usually every couple of days. It's not typically just like random trickles. And
I would kind of turn around, see their walking speed, look at my walking speed, look at how far I have to go. They'll catch up.
so you see him turn around and look at you, and look up, and look at the Citadel, and look back at you, and then keep walking.
I would wave as I'm still walking. Wave.
A little less weird. We'll take that.
I gotta get places, man. Hopefully before sundown, I'll get back to my house.
I think that's our cue. He knows we're catching up.
So the two of you, without much more time investment, easily catch up to Buddy.
I mean, how far away? How much farther ahead of us is Buddy?
Well, nothing now.
Take us like a round, which it's 6 or 7
you
seconds
like
at our
a
speed.
minor hustle and
Yeah.
like 30 seconds and you cut out to him, or at least easily in speaking distance.
Oh, hey there, bud. Wait, you might be the one I'm looking for. Are you a hero?
I sure am.
see,
You found yourself in the right situation.
Well, see, I was sent on a mission from God.
Oh my goodness, that's nice. Now, which one are you talking about here?
Well, that's a complicated question, ain't it?
Is it? Well, I mean, if you don't want to say, I ain't no judgment around here. We're an open God.
Well, God told me to find the heroes, so I imagine there's more than just you, yeah?
Yeah, we're heading in the right direction. Actually,
Oh, she was asking you which god, not which hero.
Oh, right. So I missed that cue. Right.
Well, I mean, both and neither. I mean, we are going to the correct place of the heroes. Right now, we've got some pumpkin spice tea to deliver.
Ooh, pumpkin spice. You're not
You're not allowed to have it unless resume says so, and I was sworn in by my wife.
And as you're conversing here, Buddy, even though it's getting into the later afternoon, you would sort of feel, looking towards Kaladar and Valentina, that the sun is almost getting a little bit brighter. Like it's almost kind of a little irritating in your eyes. If it's like glare or something off of the armor that neither of them are wearing. That doesn't make any sense. But it's suddenly getting just like a little bit irritating. Like it's noticeable.
Well, I feel
You
like
two
I got
don't notice
something.
anything.
I got something in my eye or something. Is
Except for
that
his
Valentina?
exceptionally shiny
Yeah,
armor.
I am. Look down.
The ones.
Get my Are you Valentina? Like you used to work at the lumberyard, right? I've been around a little bit here and there.
Yeah, we saw each other around, although I wasn't probably anything noticeable back then.
I feel like there's something different about you.
Well, look at her. She's a
Is that? I thought it might be. I thought it might be a haircut, but I didn't want to say anything in case it wasn't a haircut because I don't want to get in that kind of trouble.
No, that's fair. That's fair. I've been around and I left town and I'm back just visiting family and ran into.
That's incredible. You know, a lot of also I'd love to meet you too, but you know, a lot of people end up leaving town and they don't really, amount to nothing. And I mean, you seem to have done some work,
Yeah, it's some work. Yeah,
cutting trees.
that is where I started. But just Breachill. I was just waiting to get out of it, and then you get out, and for some reason you just get pulled back in. I mean, the family get mad if you don't visit. So
As you're talking here, the metal of your armor is starting to feel a little warm. Like you're out in like the midday sun in the middle of summer. And it's like, I'm going to level with you. I forgot what the December equivalent is. I want to say I know it's Zon-Kuthon themed. But it is like
Do I
the
feel
height of
hot to
winter.
you guys? You guys have any problem with heat? I feel like
but you're pretty armored up there, bud. So yeah, I'd say
Thona.
you're probably in.
Thank you. Calendar. Okay.
What was that about the nerdiest
right,
thing
I'm
said
back,
all
Nick.
night?
Yeah, what is that nerdy? What were we competition here?
Yeah, but you're pretty meddled up there, so I imagine you're pretty hot, eh?
I'm pretty used to this though. I feel like I'm just burning up in here, and well, I guess that's
Well, but we
how it
might
is.
as well hustle if you're going to be burned up.
At that moment, you would all hear an almost ear-shattering thunderclap, as at that exact instant, before anyone of you can even react, in the middle of the sentence, a blast of lightning surges down from the seemingly clear skies above, enveloping Buddy,
Oh God, what did you do to Bonnie?
blasting him.
What in
Meanwhile,
tarnation?
up in Citadel Altarian,
Smash cut 2.
up in the Citadel, Roisin, what do you
Lightning rod.
look like here? I don't want to front load everyone with 50 descriptions they're gonna forget, so I decided to go with the space it technique.
Oh, that's fair.
Like to feel a little better. What do you look like as you're standing in the middle of the keep here, trying to let Tyrannus down easy on the fact that if you help him get with Nikita, Resme will kill you and then him?
Well, Marcus is actually he's one of those trainers that's like, you train in your battle gear type of thing. It's not really like, go wear athletic clothes and then we'll swing swords at each other and wooden swords. Like, no, we're real swords, real armor, don't get killed kind of thing. So she's actually in her battle plate, has been working in her battle plate for a while, probably sweaty, her hair's sticking to the side of her face. So I'm going to kind of smear it out of the way. Probably pretty grimy, but really just she is a fully decked out battle plate knight right now.
What do you look like as a person? Your
Dummy.
armor's neat, but what does Roisin look like?
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, no, we're actually going back to the actual description of what my character looks like. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Like, what does your
I
character
never met you
look
there,
like?
bud.
It's true.
You all right?
So Roisin is is at this stage quite jacked as a. Sorry, we've got
We're
the
building
beefcake
the
women.
party of
We
jacked
are,
women here. I love it. Oh, it's just a
You
best
don't-
party.
If you don't have a barbarian, you just need to have some really jacked characters.
But very pale skin. Her dark hair is, she keeps it shaved on one side, one half of her head. The other half, it kind of flows down and flows long. A single bright scarlet eye framed by the hair, and a bright yellow, almost like a sickly yellow kind of color has taken over her other eye. And to give a kind of a weird dichroma effect to her. Her whole setup is like half of her face is different from the other half of her face. This side is shaved and scarred and has a bright yellow eye. This one is the red. And apparently, even despite all of the battle damage, rocking a really high charisma means she also looks good.
She
Well,
also
yeah, I
looks
mean,
good.
I feel like, honestly, those two things go hand in hand.
Fair
Like,
enough. Fair
I
enough.
like your
Also-
compliment.
Is this just me? Like,
I also sleep 2 hours a night only, and I spend a lot of time on your skin and hair care while you're asleep.
That explains it.
That's perfect.
She moisturizes me while I
Perfectly
sleep.
normal.
That must be
Totally
it.
normal.
Perfectly normal
perfectly
friends.
normal.
Yeah,
Normal
yeah.
friends. Yep, hanging out doing regular friend stuff. Just
Yeah.
a couple of normal
They're
friends.
roommates.
Yeah, just a couple of
know,
roommates.
We're normal
Pair of
people
gals
here.
hanging out.
Yep, I guess that's how things work. I guess I don't know. It's just fair enough.
But as you're heading out of the keep here in Tyrannus, opens the door out of the halls of the Citadel nods. I suppose. But if this what is it? If this ring ever becomes more functional, if it's ever something that can be harnessed, let me know.
Well, it's certainly something that we've been experimenting with. We tried helping those slaves escape from Kintargo, and that worked spectacularly well. Although, I saw the runes around it, and honestly, the cult of cinders did a number on it. They ripped it up pretty badly. So certainly there's been a lot of work on it, but I wouldn't want you wandering through some gate somewhere and falling into the space
is-
between stars.
That is fair. I am far from a signifier. Magic is not my area of expertise. I don't understand a lick of it.
But I'm sure given enough time, we'll eventually get it working right.
All right.
Good save.
And as you're coming around into the entryway of Citadel Altarian here, the large, wide atrium this like 30-foot wide, 80-foot deep hallway that bears the massive double wooden iron-braced gates at the front. They would be open these days, open, free to travel for any who are come or going, especially you two in particular. And you would arrive at the back end just around the same time that Resme and Valia would be coming in the front. So, Resme, as you step into the hallway here, what do you look like?
Resme is about 5'7", statuesque, a little on the thin side, as she is a half elf, but she is more on the elf side than the not elf side. She has the very signature pointed elf ears. Her red hair would be braided back, and she has a ring on almost every finger, and is wearing some pretty interesting looking jewelry, arcane symbols all over it.
You got about 40 different, like, signet rings and...
She got ice.
Is that the terms?
She do be
I like
blinging,
it.
though.
She do be blinging, for sure.
You know, they see her rolling. So
But she's just Jenny on the block.
that's true. She's wearing what would be like a summery dress, something lighter. It's long and flowing, and she walks.
It's winter.
She doesn't care.
Okay. Just
Old resistance.
You better believe it, babe.
I'll wear what I want ring.
High value to any aristocrat, to be sure.
Yes.
And she strolls with a kind of absent-minded air as she's listening to Valia talk. And she sees Roisin, and she'll wave at you.
And as you wave and open the door wider here, as it's not sealed, I may have misspoke, they're not just wide open, but they are unlocked. Opening the massive gate, a black feathery blur kind of shoots over both of your heads through the gap. A small bird shoots in across the hall and flies directly into Tyrannus' face, where you have this kerfuffle of feathers and wings flapping and feet kicking. And Tyrannus immediately throws his hands up and just trying to fend off this little raven that has sailed into his face here.
Oh.
Why is it God's Renly controls a damn bird?
Oh, come on, Tyrannus, you can take him.
Tyrannus, I do believe there's a bird in your face.
And as he swats it a couple times, he reaches out and just grabs this bird, getting its body and one wing, as the other wing is still just like flailing in its head, just pecking at him. Remind me, can Severin talk, or is that like a
Yes.
telepathic thing?
Nope,
to you?
nope.
Okay.
He talks with a slightly piratey British accent.
That's what I thought.
Very
as he's-
descriptive, I love
As
it.
he's flapping up and
In several different languages.
flapping up and got restrained by Tyrannus here. Do you think you can hold me back and I mean not? You think you can go after her? You stay back. You stay back off of Nikita. She's nothing. She's not for you.
Oh, Tyrannus.
And he just throws
I'll catch him.
who is like is a bird and can just and fly back over to you.
Seb, have you lost your temper again?
What the hell? Does your bird have a crush on an elven woman?
I don't. You never know what notion Severin will get into his head. Ever since the dragon and the phoenix put him on the same level, he's just been impossible to deal with, really.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Remember?
He could never take his eyes off that feather. He kept talking about her.
I know.
What?
Oh, Severin has a girlfriend who's a phoenix.
At least in his mind.
Severin is a Wow, that
was
You have power.
I wonder if that actually
it again.
on stream.
Well, I manifested that. And that is from Resme's best friend. A tip coming in. I have tidings
Uh-oh.
for Mr. GM here.
Oh,
For our
no.
first villain points.
Me.
Villain point.
Me.
Oh, I wonder who that could possibly
Yeah, I don't know.
supporting the
Could
stream
be
there.
anyone.
I
I
hate
want to
you,
go
Link.
ahead and put this over here. And thank you, Resme's best friend, for your support there. Well, keep that safe. But if you're wondering what that weird smash cut was immediately before that showed in because you're watching this on YouTube, it's 2 days later now. Our stream died because the internet went out, and now we're finishing the episode, so you get the cool side of this where it's all just one video. So where we were, we had recently come to Citadel Altarian, and we were following Roisin briefly as she trained with Marcus Solimar, the new Castellan of the Citadel, and headed out into the foyer with Tyrannus, your Hell Knight friend of a very long time for a couple of you. You had arrived in the foyer about the same time that Resme and Valia had come in the front door. Valia Azimov, one of your allies you met long ago back in Kintargo. And we are picking up immediately after a brief disagreement between Tyrannus and a certain crow.
The death
Not
is real.
amused.
The death
Not
stare is
amused.
real.
Yep.
Peregrine Crow or whatever.
Falcon. He's a falcon.
It's very regal.
It's not hard.
But
Wait, is he a falcon? Like you're a half?
We're not even there. You can't do that. We're not there. We're not there.
Straight. Oh my gosh.
We're new at the table. You're gonna get annihilated.
I hope you have survival,
Stellar
son.
acquisition to the party. Super happy about this.
Hope you rolled a second character.
As Tyrannus throws Severin back across the room, and he, being a bird, obviously easily kind of catches himself and alights upon Resme's shoulder. What are you doing here? What do you even need? Sorry.
This is my castle. I have the deed and everything.
Build your own castle next door because this one wasn't good enough for you.
Always kind of got you there.
It doesn't have servants who serve me food and my boudoir. It's
It
true.
has a standing guard with shifts. It is defended. It is a castle, not a
Mine's
manor
defended.
house with a vineyard.
I like my vineyard. It has nice trees that make wine.
And he looks over to Valia. Miss Azimov, pleasure to meet you again. And she just kind of nods. And you as well, Mr. Horde. So, sort of looks back and forth across the three of you. Moving on from that, then, it's actually convenient that you are here, Miss Roisin.
How so?
Well, I'd had a couple of questions, and of course, with Miss Resme, you are one of the few who has a lot of experience traveling through the gates of Alcida's Ring.
Oh yes, lovely time, every single one.
Well, it's interesting. I had some curiosities about what I've been studying for it, and was curious if there was anything that you had noticed or perhaps could fill me in on.
Well,
You
it's,
have a unique insight to my understanding of some of its inner workings.
something of the sort, but I suppose mainly it just seems that every time we wind up going through one of the way stations, they're all rather hostile from some way, shape, or form, but we generally clear them out and they start behaving themselves.
That's not entirely surprising, seeing as to my understanding they've been more or less abandoned for thousands of years. I imagine you could say much the same of near any other ruin or abandoned citadel throughout
It's more than
all
just
of Avestan.
It's more than just being abandoned. There's actually it's like a cloud of misfortune that seems to surround every single one of them. It's not just I could understand if it was just something just happened to make their way inside, but especially the way station to Jewelgate, something terrible happened there, and I'm wondering if it might be an inauspicious construction overall. The elves were just tinkering with it. They didn't quite understand what they were doing.
This was the first of its kind. After all, this entire artifact is sort of the progenitor to the entire teleportation sub-school of magic.
But why the questions? Have you been noticing some issues?
What could potentially be a problem, hopefully a minor one, but still one that might be wise to stave off before it becomes larger. Here. I can... And she sort of looks at Resme. We can explain the broad strokes of it, I suppose. You can tell me
The
if it's-
gate is under stress, and every time we go through it, it's like a bridge.
And
a
as you
bridge.
explain this out to Roisin and Valia and Tyrannus here, out on the road up to the Citadel, we left at a very interesting place. Last thing that happened here was Buddy getting seemingly smited by lightning from nowhere. Clear sky, the heavens above, just blasted down. As we come back around to you three, making our way to the Citadel for completely unrelated reasons, Kaladar and Valentina would see a smoking fissure where Buddy was once
Buddy's still there?
standing. There would be a bit of an impact, a couple of feet around from the force of the strike, with some scree having been blasted out around the outside of it. And through this kind of rising smoke, you can just sort of see the form of Buddy hunched over on the ground in the center of this.
Is that the work of your god?
What was that?
I don't want. I'm not here to claim nothing. Oh, hey, bud, you got a bit of shock there. You doing okay there, bud?
Nation was that?
As Buddy stands up, and I'm really sad this specifically did not fit into the first half because it was all lined up for it. Do you want to tell us what your character looks like?
Oh, we didn't even get
We
there?
didn't get to his character description because it was here.
Buddy's daddy.
Well, now I've got gleaming gold armor, whereas before, which may have just been kind of silver and old and probably passed down through generations. Now,
Oh, wait, your armor changed?
yeah,
He is wearing
just now.
like gilded full.
All right,
like
all
a
right.
suit
It looks
of
just
shining
like
gold.
my character art. Now we are like, we are rocking now. But notably, I reach up to where my beard was, and it's gone. And I'm like, what? You don't have nothing better to do, Iomade? I knew you had it on, buddy. I thought you were busier than a cat on tin roof up there, and here
as
you are.
As you got hit by this blast, it's almost like in that brief instant, you now are sort of waking up in the morning from a dream. Like you just have these fleeting vestiges of images. The center of this massive cathedral with golden light streaming down, a huge stained glass window above with the depiction of a great long sword striking down through it. A woman standing before you with raven black hair and very pale skin, in simple, functional full plate, much like yours, holding aloft a long sword with a round hilt, circular, I guess cross guard rather than circular cross guard right above the handle, the blade flat down, extended towards your shoulder, and this is all fading by the second.
This is like a vision?
Like this is like what he remembers. It may have been a vision, but by the point we're at now, he can't barely even remember pieces of it.
Well, hey, bud, looks like your god gave you a little bit of a little shave there on the sides there, eh?
I can't believe this must be Bonnie's work. I can't believe this. This is ridiculous. We got smited from Iomade to clean up the lamb chops. Well, alrighty then. I hear you loud and clear, but I really feel like
Oh, so now you're on a mission from Gad.
this.
Me
I've
too.
never felt like this. Well, man,
You're looking
this
nice,
is
looking real
like,
spiffy there, bud.
I met you, and 3 seconds later, now we're both
Well,
on
see
divine
now,
missions.
yeah, maybe we're on the
Wait,
same mission
If
from
there's a
Gad.
mission or a purpose, you weren't told.
I don't need to know the mission. I just need to be who I am.
Did the pumpkin spice tea make it?
And what about the hat? The hat's really the important
It
part.
looks like it's pretty bleached in the art here.
Yeah, but now let me just tell you right now, Iomade respects the hat.
Clean it up for you.
It's got now you could shoot this with a bomb, and this thing would be like tip top shape. We came to an agreement. I'm thinking. Beard, hat.
And as you kind of pull yourself up, the kite shield, the large metal plate slung across your back, the face of it is now a dark, almost kind of blood red, with this massive golden symbol of Iomade spanning the whole of the face.
pretty neat right there. This divine.
Can't see it though, right? It's strapped to his back.
Strapped to his back.
Well,
Oh, hey, bud. Hey, bud.
Looking around him, it's a pretty big shield.
Yeah, your big turtle shell there, bud. It's changed color. It's got a drawing on it.
I'm sure proud of this now. You know, I'm a divine mission. I'll just have to figure out what it is. Then we'll be right. Great.
Hey, me too.
Hey.
The least bothered anyone's ever been by a message from God. But he's like, cool.
Yeah, well, you know, me and Iomade, we've been through a lot together. Normally, it doesn't really care this much, so it's kind of concerning, but...
I'm starting to wonder if I have some kind of like luck, good or bad, that's just delivering
Man,
this.
I'm gonna hang out with you more often.
Better watch.
By the way, what was your name again? Because like now that I feel like we're like brothers now. Now we got a lot in common.
Oh, hey, bud. I'm Kaladar. How you doing?
Nice to meet you, buddy.
Oh, you're buddy. Well,
Buddy.
We're gonna call you Bud, okay, Bud?
Yeah, it works
Okay,
for
bud.
me. Ain't no problem.
This is Bud too.
Well, it's gonna be hard to differentiate if you got.
No, bud. It's
Trying to be able to read
Sal.
Sartan. This conversation's gonna go to hell in 3 seconds.
Smash cut 2.
Yeah.
That's for later.
Well, I bet we better head in now. I'm just adjusting my new armor, kind of breaking it a little bit. It's
And your old armor.
Still nice and loud there, Bud. Don't worry. You're
don't
good.
worry.
Your old armor very much was like handed down. It was something that you guys have had basically forever. So it was
from Bunny's side of the family.
It was like shaped and worked and fitted as well as it could be, but I mean, it's not like it was custom made for your body. But this armor, this new golden full plate that you have now, is perfect. It exactly, like these pauldrons exactly contour to your shoulders. It feels like this plate doesn't even really inhibit your movement.
You see these shoulders? These are like bull shoulders. I could go through some solid walls with these things. Straight through. Be like a battering ram.
Would you need that? I think we've proven you can do that anyway. I don't think.
But
that-
now
first
it's
level.
efficient.
Okay, now it's more efficient.
Yeah.
Now there's no roll. Barrels through.
So the three of you, I guess, just continue on your way up the road.
Just another day in the life.
The least anyone has ever been phased by direct divine intervention. The rest of your things, everything that you were carrying in your pack, this pumpkin spice, it's all unaffected. It's all perfectly fine. Your
That's gonna be
whip
bad.
coiled
Yeah,
at
would've
your
been bad.
side is still seemingly the same that it always was. The only things that have clearly undergone massive change is this armor, your shield, and somehow your hat.
It's
The
good.
most important part.
Because if a problem comes along, we're gonna need that whip.
That's true. It does a lot of work.
Wow, I got it.
Thanks.
For too much longer, the three of you would also arrive up to the front doors of Citadel Altarian. And you would walk in to see Resme, Roshin, Tyrannus, and Valia kind of going around over some sort of depictions in a journal that Valia would be holding at this point. And of course, these massive doors creaking open, all four of them would turn to look at you. And Tyrannus' eyebrow would raise. Well, that's very convenient.
Buford, would you fall through the vault of Abadar before you came up here?
Actually, Iomade sent me this armor herself.
What?
Yep.
Oh yeah, buddy. Got a
Just
big
like
old
4
shock out
minutes
there.
ago.
What?
Actually, right as soon I met this gentleman here, Calendar. You know, I don't feel like messing it up, man. What was his name again?
Kaladar?
Calendar. I was so
Closes
close.
the journal and tucks under her arm, and in a very practiced motion, bows deeply towards you. Valia Argens Asimov, executor and arbiter of Baroness Gladherman's realms, far beyond the lands of near Kintargo.
That was mostly English too, or common. That was mostly common too.
Taldane, I think is the word that you're looking for. We got there.
I'll take him.
She calls me Baroness, even though we've been friends for an age and struggled through death together, and I
Well,
can't get her to stop.
Ain't this your special little place?
Uh,
Seems like a baroness's place.
It's one of them. She has quite a few, actually.
Oh,
But
That explains it.
Please call me Resme. You're Kalidar. Kalidar.
Buddy, who are these people? What?
Well, you look familiar.
Yeah, you would have seen me around. I'm Valentina. I used to work at the logging,
At
but I've
the
been gone for a while.
lumberyard. That's right. I do remember you. You left town for a bit,
shorter.
didn't you?
Yeah, I just needed to eat out, stretch my legs.
You got buff. Like, really buff. Like, you are cut. How did you do that?
You know, just kind of being here or there, got in a couple scuffles, made sense to get bigger.
You
You
certainly
can
do
just,
not
you can get bigger if it makes sense.
look like our usual recruits. Not in a negative way, of course. You look far more capable somehow. Most of the volunteers we find from Breachill are farmers or untrained hands. Never held their own the proper sort, but
I don't think they're volunteers.
Yeah, these are just coming along with meeting the heroes. Or
Oh no!
what would we-
I'm on a mission from God. I was sent here to meet with the heroes.
They're
Another one.
There are
Another
peop-
mission from God.
there are people who
so
actually
we have
say
this,
that.
and then we have you showing up out of nowhere.
Oh well, I came first, and then
when I met him,
Bud
it
over
was
here
like,
got
poof.
got a new mission.
Wasn't like poof. In fact, it was very painful. I got struck by lightning.
Okay,
If
so
I
we're gonna do
may-
this right.
No one's concerned about this.
No, we're gonna do it right this
I
time.
think that Miss Roisin here has a very valid concern.
Which god?
We,
Oh well.
I mean, that would be my main concern, because if it's, Zon Kuthon, then we don't want anything to do with
No,
it.
no. If it's Sun Kuthon, it's even worse. It's most important. But it doesn't matter because whoever it is, they're very concerned about what's going on
am I the
here.
only one with concern for Mr. Bates' tale of being struck by lightning outside the Citadel and his...
Oh, Bud's fine. No worries, Bud.
No, that makes sense.
Not normal.
He's one of Iomede's chosen.
That's not how chosen typically work.
It's not. That's how it works in the stories.
No.
When did this happen? Is this a new revelation? You told me nothing of this, Baroness?
Well, honestly, it wasn't the last time I saw him, but divine intervention, you can't put it on a schedule.
Oh, Bud, watch this. And there's a little static electricity left. Oh, it's real fresh.
So the thunder we heard about 5 minutes ago.
That was
Oh, that was you!
Yep.
Okay, that even
Sure
makes
was.
more sense.
I reckon there's a divot in that road, and then we may have to fix it at some point because wagons are not going to be able to get through that.
Wait. This...
Bit of a pothole out there, Bud.
It is, yeah.
Are you
So
evil?
who are you?
Oh, no.
And what are you doing?
Name's Kalidar. I'm on a mission from God.
We got that part, I suppose, but who, what, God, and why?
Oh, well, it's something she only told me to tell it to the heroes of Breachill, so...
that's us.
Oh, that's you.
Well, us.
Oh, that's you guys.
We're under contract and everything.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
it's true.
Introduction, buddy. Obviously, you know me. This is Resume, as usual.
Hi,
Trying
bud.
to get
Hi.
Roisin over here also.
Later, Bud.
Oh God, another one who only calls you by one name.
Oh,
Whichever works. You said Kalidar was the name.
yeah? That's
Pleased to
calling-
meet you.
I'm
And
calling you Cal.
Miss, I don't believe it introduced.
Valentina?
Valentina, what
And
a
Val,
spectacular
Cal
name.
and
Flows
Val.
so nicely.
You are far from the first to have, you are just seeking the heroes.
Oh, yeah, just the heroes. We got a thing to talk about, I think.
You had already...
We met on the road.
Then why would you bring him here?
Well, this
You
is
have-
where the heroes are.
I assume is Raz not in town? But you just bring him to the Citadel?
But it's pretty cool. I mean, I have a couple statues we gotta show off.
Nobody
Nobody
is
ever
telling
comes
Marcus
around
about
here
this.
that's...
Okay.
Is what?
Yes, Bud seems real concerned about things, huh?
She ain't very concerned about a lot of
Rightly
things.
so, I'd imagine. It's rare that you actually get two divine interventions from two separate gods, I would imagine, because, no offense, you don't look like Iomede's type.
Oh, no, definitely not.
So there you go.
Wait, you have
We're
something
starting to
against
narrow it
Iomedes?
down a bit.
No.
I think if you all let him get more than 2 words in, you might get an answer.
Well, we have somewhere private to go?
Of course. Come with me.
Let's do that. No offense there, Bud. But you're not the heroine type, eh?
Spits up.
From what I've heard, he's made quite a good effort in the early days.
Okay. Fair enough.
Your first undertaking as these heroes was with me, here, in this very Citadel.
Nah, don't get offended here. We're just, just...
You're the one who wouldn't sign the contract.
That's exactly it.
Well,
How many risen hell knights and boggards and giant rat monsters did we slay here? Dozens?
For what you sound, this seems to be the case.
And yet,
You almost died!
I almost
Several
had to.
times.
Yeah, that was me too.
you almost got eaten by a rat, remember?
That was a bad
was
time.
Oh, but Bud almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades there, eh?
Exactly. You know, I really like it.
Tyrannus, let me just say, I greatly appreciate your contributions to the entire operation. Let me
Talia
just say that.
Puts a hand on Tyrannus' shoulder and just nods. Mr. Hall, it is not our place. If they wish to meet with our new guests and hear the news in privates, let us.
Well, you're welcome to
retire
come with
elsewhere.
us.
Well, I thought it was kind of private.
I think that we need not impose. Tyrannus, if you would, I'm interested in some of the changes that the Citadel has undertaken. You have racks of ballista mounted on the north and southern battlements. Are you expecting a siege? And she kind of like turns him around towards the door and sort of shepherds him out of the foyer here,
That's what he gets for trying to ask another girl out in front of me.
leaving just the group of you.
Speaking of which, Roshin, what happened to that man? What is Lord Rectum that Resume tried to set you up with? That one wasn't that a couple days ago? What happened?
Rectum, I nearly killed him.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that's what I thought might have happened. I haven't seen him around at all.
I think it was the arm wrestling. I'd just gotten back from hauling trees down to the lumber mill, and I think you get adrenaline all through your system. It's hard to do fine with motor skills, and the handshake didn't go well. It just went downhill from there, I think.
Please stop talking about your dates.
Well, then stop setting me up on them.
Hopeless.
Well, Calidar, I
Let's
guess
go
we
into the foyer.
better get going, I guess.
I know I'm not technically a hero of
you're
Breachill,
of
but
course welcome.
considering
with
I'm
those muscles.
was here while you were called,
You're putting the here in hero. That works.
I'll take it.
With the Citadel having been fully repaired, you have a fully functional castle. There are plenty of various rooms in here that you can use. You would have at some point in your renovations discovered an old summoning chamber that was used for ancient Hell Knight rituals that has been converted into a library and meeting house. There was the courtroom in the northern wing, where the Hell Knights held their own internal trials. There would be several smaller side chambers and meeting rooms that you could use. There'd be no shortage of quiet and removed places. But the library that was once the site of the ancient Hell Knight rituals passage would certainly be the most out of the way and the least likely for intrusion. So I imagine the five of you would head there.
Yeah. So, have a seat.
These are fancy chairs.
Well, make yourself at home.
Right?
So to get down to brass tacks there, so the Lady of Graves is pretty concerned about some of your rings there. She said it's
Who?
some of your rings. The
Pharasma,
Alcetta's ring that's in.
Oh,
Lady
Yeah.
of Graves.
So some of your rings there. Yeah. She's pretty
Pharasma's-
concerned about the rings.
I can imagine she might be.
Or maybe I'll ring. I don't know. She was pretty vague on the details, you know. She just sends me out and this is what she does. She just kind of tells me, go, make things better.
Man, I thought I had a close connection with Iomade, and here I am.
She sent you out herself, did she?
What? Yeah, I mean, she had another one send me out, but it was
goodness
from
gracious.
her, yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious! We have two in one day. All right.
So, what particularly is she concerned about? I mean, aside from, the dragon god that's trapped in them.
Oh yeah, that's the one. It's the dragon god. Yeah, she says he's trying to get out there.
Yes, we know. I guess you're here to help?
I don't suppose she gave you any ideas on how to keep it in.
Oh, that's not my department there, eh? I just come here and I serve up some hands, and that's my job. But I'm also a little bit of a messenger. Unfortunately, she's not very clear on the message, eh?
Now wait a minute. Wait, we're using the rings for like trade and whatnot, aren't we? Like, what do you mean by the trade? I haven't heard nothing about. We know the trap. There was a trap in the one, but that wasn't like a big.
Buddy, To tell you the truth, I've been putting off explaining it to you because I was having puppets made because I knew that was the level of explanation it was going to take to get you to understand it.
I also would have appreciated the puppets, actually.
Yeah, I feel like how long did?
Oh, we're
how
gonna get a
long
puppet show there, buds.
Apparently.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
They're
Well-
probably gonna be well made too.
Severin and I did have one set up. Well, I guess if that's what we're gonna do, we'll do a puppet show explanation. So Resme and Severin,
18th level campaign, guys. 18th level campaign. We're explaining third party with puppets.
will pull out like a little puppet dragon, and he'll like be like hiding in like these little gate things that Severin has made. And she'll kind of tell the story of Alcetta's rings. She'll start at the beginning since it's helpful. Buddy knows some of it. She'll tell you about them going through to Mwangi, and then
Oh, the rings. They're not rings. They're rings.
see, they're
Aye.
ancient elvish gates of travel. It's the best way to think about them.
How'd you get the dragon eyes to bounce all over the place like that while you wiggle
Magic.
it around? Okay, wow, it's fascinating.
Want some pinion nuts?
Oh, you killed him. Congrats, you killed him.
I'm sorry, what?
Pinion nuts. They're good snacks.
And then she'll.
Want some Benoit balls?
I hate
What he heard.
Sorry, we were not distracted at all.
No.
Totally paying attention. We got it. Googly
Rings.
eyes.
Mhm, dragon.
Dragon rings.
So after the ancient elves in Mwangi sealed the dragon away, what happened next?
Well, once they sealed the dragon away, well, then we moved on to Kevlar. Not Kevlar, sorry. I'm getting all the cities confused. Kintargo, there's all K's. That's the
There are a
problem.
lot of K's. I don't know why they went like
Kintargo's
Kintargo,
where
Cobbler, Katapesh. It's literally all K's.
It's all
actually. Holy crap. Yeah,
Ks.
they literally are all K cities. I didn't realize that until just now.
And we fought off more of these. Well, what we came to find out were slavers. And then Roisin decided that slavery was going to be canceled. So we started hunting them down. And
To be fair, they were actually trying to burn our town down and take our people as slaves.
they killed my best friends. Well, two of them. Mimes the deaths of the characters. She's actually really
Look at that.
tearing up.
Wow.
Creates water on the puppets so just little tears flow down.
She put a lot of work into this. She had to do something in the couple of months she's had off.
Been prepping this puppet show for months. She's been so excited to share this.
Unseen servants are running the puppets.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they move on to Kevlar. We go underground to the dwarf city.
Oh yeah, I know about Kevlar.
And then we fight an actual dragon and her actual mother, who is not very nice. But that's a
This
whole
got
nother
awfully
story.
personal. How did?
Yeah, wait.
Can we get back to the gates,
Are we
please?
gates and the dragon?
Yes, third gate. Real
Okay,
dragon.
right. Okay, yeah.
So, and then
Not the
they-
made-up dragon like last time.
they start to believe me that maybe this whole dragon thing might not be, made up, because, they're real and they're out there. And then we come back and we move on to, another K, Katapesh. And that's where all of the actual, the grand evil organization is stationed.
All the audience goes,
Exactly.
Which is just you guys.
Yeah.
We're into it.
And we start to take them down systematically because we get involved with all the guilds. And we find out that in the end, we've been kind of destabilizing the gates. And the hawk, the dragon god, is actually in there. And he could possibly wake up and destroy the world if we don't stop him. And there's this city called Promise, which is somewhere out there through the gate that we haven't opened yet. And there's this grand evil, and I don't know where it is, and I don't know how to destroy it, but I know that it's out there, and we're hunting for it. But until then, we're on vacation.
But moreover, not opening that last gate is what's actually keeping the hawk sealed away. If we opened it, wouldn't that break the final seal or something like that?
We don't know. We know that the gates are destabilized, but they don't seem to be like at the breaking point. They're just kind of getting there. Remember the bridge thing I was telling you about? You don't destabilize a bridge all in one night unless you have, like explosives. And we're not using explosives, more like little tinkering things.
Wait, why aren't we using explosives?
So what you're saying
They're
is this is
fine.
like a problem for future Esme, is what you're saying.
I don't know if it's a problem for Future Resme, because Future Resme and I haven't had a good long talk yet.
But I suggest a diary. That works quite well for that.
You think I have time to keep a diary? I'm making puppets.
Fair point. These are very
She's
good
got a
shows,
point.
by
He's
the
got a
way.
point there, bud.
It's actually very well constructed.
Really
I
well
must say.
done. Really well
That
done.
was a great puppet show there.
Thank you.
Well, that seems a bit extreme, though. I don't feel like you could just contain a god in some kind of weird.
Well, you could.
I happen to know that gods are pretty
if
large.
See, from what I've gathered about the way the gate was constructed, is it's the first and only of its kind, and the ancient elves who constructed it, they were the most powerful magic users of their time at a time when magic was at its most powerful.
Well, of course you'd say that. You're an elf.
That's not the point.
And a magic user, no less.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
My
But I
point
think, as it is,
is that clearly
Can't we just send in Beefy Arms over here? She could rough him up a bit, and then we'll call it a day. Pish
That's-
posh.
I really
Pish posh.
don't think Pharasma sent you here because she thought the beefcake could just take care of it by herself. I'm pretty sure we're gonna need more than just Muscles McManus over there, okay?
well, I don't know. I haven't seen her work yet, so I'm interested.
I mean, it's very impressive.
Have you seen her work?
No,
Oh, the
it's
muscles?
just, yeah.
Wow,
I've
okay.
never seen them
Well,
like that.
Whoa. Dang, you should see me naked. I mean, you don't want to see me naked. Never mind. I was just joking. That went way off in a tangent.
I'm gonna go tell Bonnie about this.
You better not tell her that was.
I would like to live for the full, span of my life.
Yeah, that was not an intended offer, and it was not on the table.
Speaking of which, do you have my tea?
I do have your tea. It is just right over here.
Oh yeah, bud. They warmed it up for you.
That's true. It might be a little crispy at the moment.
Such is life.
Your bag would actually be all your goods are totally unharmed. All this smoke that was
sweet.
building up seemed to just be from the lightning impacting
On
the
the ground?
dirt and ground. Nothing about you or anything you were carrying was affected at all, other than obviously things that transformed. Everything else was left totally untouched.
Well, here you go. Here is your package of pumpkin spice tea.
Oh, how lovely. Thank you.
And Bonnie worked quite a bit. It's winter now, and so it's hard to get the ingredients out.
I know. So popular these days. But yeah, so Pharasma sent you, huh?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I mean, you're a member of Breachill, so I suppose the main problem I'm having right now is how to pursue this without putting Breachill at risk.
Pursue this without putting Breachill at risk. If two major goddesses are going and sending champions or anointing them on the spot, I think we're in a bit of a rough shape.
I know.
Well, we're in a
In
lot
fact,
better
actually,
shape now.
I need to go to the top. I need to go to the tall tower. You all keep going, but I don't think this can wait.
You're gonna get Milani to bless you too?
She already has in her own way, but no, I'm going to see if I can't see any signs.
Okay.
Pardon. And Sheen's going to leave and climb up to the top of the tallest tower in the keep.
And you would have, when you were rebuilding everything, since there's no proper central keep, it's just really this open training ground, this sandy area for you to drill the militia that you've recruited. The only towers were around the outsides of the keep itself. Towers that once upon a time, Buddy and Resme had to work their way into cornering Calmont to save the Goblin Chieftain they were after over a year ago now.
God.
The one that is closest to the front gates on the eastern side of the Citadel is one layer taller than the rest. And you would, as I'm sure you have many times before, climb the spiraling staircase up to the open air peak of that tower, surrounded by the arrow slits, the crenellations of the battlements, looking down over not just all of Hell Knight Hill, but all of Breachill further down below.
And Roshin is going to step up to the very walls, up to the crenellations, and cast her gaze out over the forest into the skies, looking at the clouds, looking at the play of birds in the trees, and opening herself up to the messages that nature is going to send her. And she's going to cast a 10-minute ritual read omens spell because
There be omens.
that's some hecka signs.
You got a little bit of omens coming.
omens.
I don't know if there are stronger omens that exist.
What is it? The crusade, the god of crusades, and the god of death.
God of the god of freaking crusading.
They're like, we've got problems, and so I'm going to peek into the future. I'm going to
fate,
pick a
God
goal,
forbid.
event, or activity. The event is going to be the coming disaster, which I'm sure exists.
The event is going to be the probable apocalypse.
Yeah.
Is this like a wheel and woe thing?
No,
or-
I learned a cryptic clue or piece of advice that could help with the chosen event, often in the form of a rhyme or omen. Not to put you on the spot.
or anything,
improvise a poem
but give
for
us a
me.
couplet, please.
But as you get this message sort of coming to you, looking out across the tops of the trees, seeing the wind, the way the wind blows them, even the way what little bits of cloud cover there is dance and whirl in the sky, the shapes they make. You have been trained in reading a wide variety of these various signals. And from this vantage point, what level? Like, how specific is it? What level's read omens?
It's level 4.
Level 4. Okay, so it's like decently powerful divination here. Hold on, give me a second. Let me get something good. Let me put something together here.
So you never had pignon nuts before? What?
Wait, did you
I don't
change the
think-
name?
It's pignon nuts.
Pinion nuts. Okay.
Pignon.
So what
From
have you?
pine trees.
So what have you been
Pignon.
doing, wandering around?
Oh, I was just back in town visiting family. Was that the question?
No. What did you do before that to get the
Excellent
fuse?
muscle.
A lot of fighting. A lot of training.
I don't look like that. Well,
Maybe I haven't been fighting the way that I fight.
You would get a simple message coming through. Past looming threat of a new age of ash. While cinders still burn, they grow in mass. Contained beneath their endless wrath. If left ignited, over all it shall pass.
That was
Told you
improv,
so.
y'all. That was a full poem improv right on the spot.
Hold on. Thank you.
yes,
I did have to pause for 30 seconds, but we got there.
No, that's good. She's gonna wake up and her face is stony, and she walks down and she's going to literally, when she sees people, like whoever she passes, she's going to say, "Need a bucket of sand or a bucket of water stationed on the wall." Every single one of them, and until she makes it to someone of authority, possibly Marcus, possibly Tyrannus.
While you're coming back down, you would, coming down towards the keep, almost certainly come across Tyrannus once you have reached the ground level there. And I'm just saying the look on your face would first be a brief confusion. Are you all right?
We have a problem. Sometime in the next week, omens are clear. We need to be ready to fight fire, and lots of it. Barrels of sand, buckets of water. We need to have them stationed around. I suggest we double the guard. We need to secure the keep.
Not that I am of the place to question, but what is this coming from? You saw this?
Have you seen Buford? Did you see Buford walking in?
He has certainly spent some of his spoils on some fancy armor, that is certain.
It is not his spoils that he spent. I believe it is his patron who spent it for him.
Wait, was that literal?
I'm afraid so.
Wait, they mean he literally was selected by God and that's what he wears now?
As of this morning.
Is that how they work? They reach down and
Not unless they're
turn your full
desperate.
plate gold.
Not unless they're desperate.
All right, well, I can tell Solomar, and
I suggest we secure the keep at once. You mentioned you had ballista on the top.
of course,
Probably we may need them. We need to warn the town too.
Castellan Solomar was very adamant about some manner of siege defense. I cannot imagine them being used here. This citadel is very much too far removed from Breachill to protect it properly.
Protecting Breachill may not be necessary. We might have to protect the gates. But regardless, we need to be ready.
Is that Kaladar fellow?
A similar situation, but a different goddess. We've got two who are particularly concerned about the events of the next week, and I'll notice that Milani hasn't sent me anywhere else either.
Well, very well. I'll let Solomon know.
Tyrannus, if the week passes and nothing happens, which I sincerely hope it doesn't, I'll offer you a full apology and buy you around.
Fine for now. Whatever it is that Valia woman stocks in her flask is... Oh, I feel I'm seeing fire, but I'll let Solomon know. Oh, she wanted to speak with at least Buford as well, get some of his perspective of the passage.
Yes, of course. I'll tell me where she is. I'll round about with her.
And perceptions. Nods and would head out of the keep towards Solomar's quarters.
And I'll go try to find Valia.
But Valia would not be difficult to locate. She would have, certainly at Resme's behest, like an envoy's office here in Citadel Altari, and she would be there as she most always is while she is in town at Breachill, away from Cypress Point. And
Valia, if you'd come with me, please. I'll need your insights as to what you've learned about the gates, but I want to bring in front of the others. That's those new fellows, Kaladar, even Valentina. She seems capable enough. I think we might as well draft her at this point. Disaster's coming.
it's that dire.
Sometime in the next week.
Random help off of the street.
Well, not entirely random, but yes. Yes, I'm afraid so.
Well,
all hands and all of that.
If you wish to go over the specifics of what I've learned, I think it would be prudent perhaps to bring everyone down to also this ring.
I'll round them up.
It'd be easier to, I guess, show you.
And I'm gonna go do that.
So the rest of you, if you are still in the library sharing your nuts...
We're all playing with puppets now.
Fancy puppets. Would see Roisin come, a very different expression across her face, almost
Sheenie, what's
wild
wrong?
here. And assuming you would all come with her, she would lead you back through to the central keep, this training ground. But there's another door on the eastern side, one that does not lead back into the halls of the ground floor of the Citadel, one that leads to a staircase, one that goes back, doubling back on itself, landing after landing, descending, for those of you who have not been down it before, an impressive depth below the surface. What must not be, perhaps not even into the heart of the hill that the Citadel is crested atop, but perhaps below even that, before it finally lets out into an incredibly impressive chamber. It opens into a circular room, dozens, scores of feet across, a almost perfect, unbroken white stone ring, punctuated with 5 different stations, blank stone faces, perfectly flat, smooth, and gray. Each of them embellished with incredibly ornate carvings around the outsides, some with overlapping heaps of crystals and gemstones jutting out in different directions, some with butterflies and swirling bits of mist and twinkling stars. Where a 6th should rest, a hole blown away in the wall entirely. The rubble now having long since been cleaned up, but the edges of the wall still jagged and marred from where they had been destroyed. Collapsed into what looks to be a short, brief natural cavern beyond, which has by this point been long since lit up with lights set upon sconces, even with some simple walkway of carpet laid down within to save you from having to traipse through these stone and dirt floors. At the center of this chamber, a fountain about 12 feet across, ringed with towering statues of 6 elven figures. each turned facing out exactly towards one of these gray slates, and of course one towards this open void. The only thing else within this chamber is a huge set of ancient wooden double doors with no visible reinforcement, no banding of iron, no even crossbeams at the extreme northern side of the chamber, perfectly across from you as you come in on the southern end, set closed with two wrought iron handles, what look almost comically low down the doors at a standard height. This before you is also this ring.
Oh, ring. Get it.
Yeah.
What are you saying?
Right. So, well, with everyone here, let me try and explain this once more properly and as simply as I can, I suppose. This magic that governs these various gateways, that connects each and every one of these slabs to a distant land, is sort of a prehistoric form of teleportation from a time before such magic was discovered and invented. Magic, of course, itself is a degree of science and technology. It works under rules. It has bounds. It can't simply do anything, as some folk may believe. It's actually quite structured. So they're not able to link directly across to their matching gateways, wherever the far end may be. They have to pass through, well, several transitory planes. Believe it or not, the teleportation of mass and matter from one place to another within the same plane is a relatively recent discovery. It's impressively difficult, harder even so than travel between planes, exponentially more so, requiring a much more refined spell. It's why up until very recently, most teleportation magic had a dangerous and often fatal margin of error, with wizards arriving sometimes dozens of miles off of the target, sometimes at the bottom of lakes or oceans, and sometimes inside salt and stone. So, take this, for instance, a dream gate. And she walks over to the nearest one on her right, which is faced by the elven figure of a woman with loose hair, very long, straight, but almost kind of wild, seeming in some places to defy gravity. Her face carved, smooth, and serene, her eyes closed, with almost a smile on her face as she gazes toward this slate, the one surrounded by butterflies, twinkling stars, and the essence of whirling air. This is Dreamgate. This is the one that I came through that connects back to Cypress Point up near Kintargo. When the key is touched to the stone here, it doesn't simply take me to Cypress Point, nor even to the way station, actually. And she... Baroness Gladman, if I may.
What?
The key.
Eclipse.
You think I just carry them on me?
Well, she got here somehow, so you would have had to have gone and open it, so you probably still have it in your pocket. You have an awful lot of them.
First of all, I'm not just going to say where the key is. Second of all, I keep the keys someplace special, and I keep a special oil on them so that no one can scry for them. If you told me you needed the key, you should have been more specific.
That's wise. I just assumed that given...
Been a
Could you go pop over and grab it for a quick?
The safest place they possibly could have been would be on your person.
She'll dimension door, and she'll come back about 2 minutes later with
You
a
see
little box.
A shimmer of magic as she snaps, and Resme is simply gone from existence. There's like an instant of heat haze, and then a few seconds later.
And about 2 minutes later, she comes back, and she's got a little box in her hand that she takes a little key out from around her neck, and she opens it. And she takes out the
Valia
Eclipse key.
takes this black star knife, not just made of a black iron, but of a metal with a strange sheen. One that I still believe it's possible none of you have seen much of since, because
It's cold iron, right?
It's called...
but it's not traditional cold iron. It is like it has many similar properties. It functions the same, but it is
It's
metal
pretty unique.
from deep within the wonky jungle. One that is very rare and very rarely used, even within the area. And she touches it to the surface of the stone. And as soon as the tip of one of the blades of this circular, almost throwing star touches against the stone, you see from that point it starts to kind of fizzle out. The gray stone becomes lighter, almost white, and the surface starts to shimmer and shift a little bit, almost like a mist. It's still flat. No smoke is pouring out from this. It doesn't lose its form. But in an instant, the whole of this slate has become like a solid wall of impermeable fog, still surrounded by these carvings of butterflies and stars. This gateway here, this mist, it's a kind of transitory plane, I suppose, and empty. It doesn't connect to anything in particular, but it's a sort of reserve for the amount of magic and conjurative energy that's necessary to transport items, beings, even your very souls along with you to the way station. Magic at this time, I suppose, wasn't even developed enough yet to send you wholly intact without something to be able to handle the amount of essence that was traveling through. Souls are volatile things. They're difficult to move intact. And you pass through this so briefly that I, at least, don't even consciously notice it. I simply step into a fog, there is a moment of blindness, and I'm in the way station. There's no feeling, there's no effect, but it's quick. The same thing happens at the far side. Each of these gateways, I assume each of them anyway, connects to a similar way station. A chamber with two more portals on either end, one leading here to this nexus at Ulcida's Ring, and one leading to its final destination. And each of those gates also pass through this sort of transitional mist. But that's the problem. And she hands Eclipse back to Resme and pulls out her journal. I don't know what the cause is necessarily, but this transitional plane is expanding or filling. Imagine it, I suppose, like a simple balloon. Every time you pass through this, it's filled with a bit of air that's let back out on the far side. But not all of it is coming back out, or at least not properly, or perhaps something is leaking in from elsewhere. And it's filling further and further.
While she's doing that, I'm going to throw up Detect Magic. And after I do that,
So what do you do?
when she'll throw up Detect Magic, she'll throw out a word of power. It sounds kind of garbled to you, especially because we're kind of in the place that we are and there's a lot of magic kind of flying around. But then some very specific words come out of her mouth. Temporis ultimalis. And her eyes will glaze over and her body will almost become a little bit translucent. And in her mind, time will start to rewind faster, faster. And she'll actually watch the deterioration of the gate. I'm going to cast Retrocognition. I'm going to cast it at 9th level. I'm going to go back up to 100 years.
Okay. So as you watch back through this, seeing in a blink the group of you shooting back out and seeing just flitting images of Valia coming and going from Dreamgate occasionally with Ashbark Tai as well, the leader of the Bellflower Network. You see very occasional interactions with the Katapesh Gate. You see the time that Marshall came back in very excited about a fight that he had in his arena after Akuri had finally made his way here. You see your group changing as it did over time, going through the gate to Katapesh, the gate to Kovler, the gate to Kintargo, the gate to Mwangi. And as it goes further back still, you see the group of you and Renali fighting your way in from the cavern against the group of Charuka cultists, against the Cinder Claws that had come through. And as you rewind out, you watch the several days that they had been trapped here, of Gludvarge, their leader, slowly losing his mind, trying to find anything that he could do to escape the area before an explosion, a blast of fire. The entirety of Ulcida's Ring consumed in this burst, emanating out from Hunter's Gate, to the left of the doorway, the Mwangi portal. This eruption of magic, so potent and so powerful that it destroys the gateway on the far end, blasting the brick and the stone, the wall, out of Alcetta's ring, revealing the cavern beyond. And as that passes, again, you see this backwards. Before that, Alcetta's ring sits whole. It sits. It waits. And you reach back with this retrocognition 100 years of the ring being near totally untouched. Even in that time span, the change in magical energy impermeable, even to someone who's as attuned to it as you. No physical changes whatsoever, save for the slight errant motions of motes of dust in this near airless cavern. And the spell ends.
Okay, so that was interesting.
Where'd you go there, bud? You've been gone for a minute.
And it would have been about a minute of her sitting there.
So I was looking back in time at the gate to see if I could perceive any differences in the power over even that long of a period of time, to see whether or not, because when gods say there's an emergency, I mean, gods don't think about time necessarily in the same way we do. If there's an emergency in the next 500 years, they might consider that a huge issue and want us to take care of it. I was trying to get an idea of how fast the power was deteriorating, or if it was going to be something more immediate, something physical that was going to happen.
Did you see, perhaps, when this happened?
Yes, I did.
Gesturing to the hall, obviously. Is that, how recent was this?
A year ago. That's when we first discovered the gates.
I had, one of my working theories, perhaps, that there was an immense amount of power contained here within this ring. A great amount of energy to keep these transitory planes connected and intact. And just like striking against an enchanted ring or a suit of armor can dilute, if not remove the magic entirely, it's not impossible that the destruction of one of the gateways has destabilized it.
That's what I was thinking too. It's possible that the magic would have taken much longer to have weakened.
I have a theory.
I'm all ears.
The only gates that we've used with any regularity are Dream Gate here and that one over there heading out to Katapesh. I don't believe that Hunter's Gate has been opened since as long as I've known the group of you.
Well, surprisingly, nobody wants to go back to the Mwangi jungle.
And she gestures over to the last one in the center of the west, just past Hunter's Gate, off to the group, your group's left. It is one that is faced with a statue that is garbed in much different attire from the rest. They're all ancient elven dresses and gowns. They're all exceptionally ornate, but the one facing out to this westernmost gateway is very provocative. Not just in the garb, but also even the pose of the woman depicted there. Callistria, the elven goddess of vengeance and lust. A horrifying combination to strap on one god.
Beware a woman scorned.
But she looks out towards this gateway, surrounded not just by a pair of elven figures, both kneeling, almost reaching up towards the top of each side of the frame of the portal, but a stream of wasps spiraling around up towards a star at its top. Has this one been opened at all? Do you have the key for it? Well, if, again, for purposes of layman's terms, the problem we have is an increase of pressure, it's possible that it could be at least staved off by giving it some degree of an outlet. I don't know if opening that gate would help. Did you see it opened in your vision? This one?
That one exploded before I could see it open.
The Hunter's Gate exploded.
Oh.
No, but no, the last of the gates that's still there that you haven't used.
Oh, I don't think it's been used. I assumed that led to promise.
But we don't have the.
We don't need
have
to-
the keys anyway.
We don't have the key.
You got the key from Treagle.
Oh, that's right, we did. It's in a box.
It's the wasp in amber.
Oh, that's right.
Is the key.
That doesn't do anything. That's why I forgot about it.
Yeah.
That's why I
do
forgot
definitely have
about
the key
it.
to Venture Gate. Well, I don't imagine that its destination is, I suppose, necessarily relevant. We need not enter it. If the
Do we
theory
want
is
to just
correct.
try to use it?
Well, let's do it, buds. Let's just go hog.
Well, wait a minute. That being said,
I don't know if I just want to do it without.
your thought is that by opening this, we can somehow balance the residual energies that are flowing around in here and getting stuck up and jammed up inside these gates.
Perhaps.
But if indeed this is the last seal that's keeping everything down, we might just bring the waterfall down on our heads if we're not careful.
Well, from what I've seen of the gate over the past months, that's going to happen sooner or later, regardless of our intervention.
Probably in the next week, if I were to assume.
What
How
do you mean? What do
exactly-
you mean in the next week? What do you mean? Like, wait.
That is rather oddly specific.
Yeah. Like, what are you talking about?
Oh, are you on a mission from God too?
Oh, actually, I have been for quite a number of years now.
I hang out with the strangest people.
Regardless, 2 messengers from 2 different goddesses show up on the same day.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Certainly worth. It was worth doing a bit of investigation myself. The signs are clear. We have an upcoming catastrophe, probably in the next week.
Well, that's
Like here?
Yes, here.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
desperately concerning.
Well, yes, indeed. I've already informed Tyrannus.
Okay.
We're going to go and
Okay.
try to secure the fort as much as
We're
possible.
going to need to evacuate Breachill, engage all the Citadel's defenses, and buddy, I think you're gonna need your shield.
I got it.
Sun is back.
Okay, good.
Well,
Wait, evacuate Breachill to where?
I don't know, but if a bunch of dragons are gonna descend on here and blow it up, I don't want them to be here.
I don't know if it's a bunch of
dragons
dragons.
are going to send them to the village. I dare say they're safer within a town with walls next to a citadel in the middle of the woods. Unless you mean to move the whole town through Alcida's Ring.
It was kind of what I was thinking, yeah.
Theoretically possible, but
We could move them all to my town that I have.
certainly Cypress Point, they're always quite willing to host visitors, but it's quite a lot of
Well,
visitors.
Given the emanations that I've seen, and that may be on display here in a brief moment as she turns and looks towards the dream gate that's still open, the mist starting to lose a little bit of its luster, darkening a bit. Give it a moment. The last few times this gate has been used or closed, it's reacted a bit.
How?
You'll see.
Like we're trying to fit the lid on a jar that has too much stuff in it.
I'm watching it
And
with
as
detect
the-
magic.
As the white starts to fade out and the corners of the stone start to show, and just as quickly it fizzles shut to a gray slate face once more. But as it closes, you hear a bit of a hiss, and you see what look to be a couple of droplets of this misty liquid actually just squirt out from the center as it closes, spraying across the floor, and where they land, sizzling and burning like an acid into the ground, leaving divots the size of marbles.
Oh, that's just not good.
That's
Haven't seen-
concerning.
That's certainly a new one.
Well, I think you got a busted leak there, bud.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would feel comfortable passing through the gates myself right now, much less the whole Breachill.
Then we're gonna have to find some other way to protect them.
Well, we should let the council know.
That's number one.
At the very least, they can make preparations. Perhaps people can stockpile supplies, but we have to avoid a general panic.
I don't know what to warn them about.
These manifestations coming from these gates are relatively minor. In the grand scheme of things, it's concerning to look at, sure, but I don't know what sort of a form releasing this magical pressure would take. It may very well be simply localized, and by what I've calculated here, the worst case scenario is we may lose the functionality of Alcida's Ring entirely, but none of this is conjurative energy. It shouldn't be catastrophic, especially not on a scale that would affect anything outside of, well, this chamber.
But we don't know how they imprisoned the hawk. We don't understand.
Baroness, with, again, due respect, Tahak is a god. This magic, ancient and strange as it is, it has no chance of retaining a full deity.
To be perfectly honest with you, I can think of one other deity that was imprisoned away and sealed beneath the earth.
That wasn't the manifestation of a group of elves in the jungle. That was the concerted effort of near every god that most of you have probably ever heard of.
Correct, that. Still, though, this is concerning, but it doesn't feel right that this is simply some buildup of magical static. There's too many omens stacking up on one side of the board.
And
we can't see the other one yet.
You would hear a crack, and the jewel gate further across, you would see a little bit of a split in the stone and a shoot of frost jut across the actual face of the stone itself. A visible white line of ice freezing down across the carved crystals and out into the wall next to the plate.
Well, it couldn't happen to a nicer gate.
Oh, that's just bad.
Oh yeah, that doesn't
Right,
look
so you
good.
think we open this gate and everything will be all hunky-dory then?
But it's certainly building faster than I anticipated.
Yeah, weak sounds right. So, how do you all feel about engaging in contract work?
Oh, I'm already on a contract there, bud.
How do you feel about multitasking?
Think of it as like a side job.
I think it's part of the main job, eh?
Possibly. Resume likes to have things all official.
What I'm saying is, if you're going to join us, you have to be part of the Heroes of Breachill.
Oh. Okay.
You would hear a bit of a roar and a spray of cinders as Hunter's Gate shoots forth a small gout of fire from the bottom corner, a spray of sparks across the ground. The whole of Alcetta's ring shakes slightly.
I think it's going to be a bit unhospitable here if we don't do something about it.
This might be
yeah.
a conversation we might not want to be having in this particular room.
To do something, I hadn't seen any manifestations without using the key until now. And she looks back towards Dreamgate. I didn't expect simply using this one more time would be an issue, but
No time like the present day, buds.
everything I've put together, the only thing I think that could have a chance of stopping this is, hoping that unsealing the last gate helps to relieve this, but it might be more violent than I'd anticipated.
Just a moment.
think?
Just a moment, please. Everyone clear out. Key, please. She's going to touch her headband, and a slight scripture made out of scarlet light will fly about her head briefly as she activates her Phylactery of Faithfulness, which will give me a once per day with a one action envision augury spell. Wheel, woe, or lie to me. I'm about to go touch this thing to the gate. Wheel, woe, or lie to me.
Wheel and woe.
All right, everybody out. Quick.
And
Plus two, bud.
Oh, everyone out.
They will
Regenerate on myself.
move back. Valia will certainly move back in the stairwell, move up a landing. Not retreating all the way up the stairs, but out clear around the corner and up a flight of stairs to the doorwell. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm gonna take a look at it and see if there's anything I can do to halt the degeneration and give us some more time to figure out what the hell is going
I'll have
on.
you roll in a sec. What are you three doing?
I'm going to take a little bit of a step back because I'm technically not in my own space. So if someone's asking me to get out of their space, I'm like, okay, I'll do.
Are you staying within Alcetta's ring, or are you going with Valia out to the stairwell?
I'm staying within Alcetta's ring, but I'm
Okay.
sort of giving some space.
What are you
So I'm
doing?
taking.
I will barricade the stairwell, kind of block anything that's trying to get up the stairwell, basically.
kind of below Valia at the doorway,
Shame.
make sure nothing gets through. Calda?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna hang out with Buddy over here.
That sounds about right. Everyone evacuate, one person leaves. Yeah, that's
Literally just
I left
NPC
two
listens to
people.
instructions.
Two people left. Thank you.
As you go to move this forward, Resume, make me a religion check. This will not be a magical tradition thing.
It's so I can't use Unified
No,
Theory.
it's not based on magical tradition. It's just a religion check.
Just a religion check. Okay, then I have absolutely no idea what's going on.
Could always roll in that 20.
That's true. You can roll a 20.
Roll for the 20. Here we go.
Not
That's a 20.
Did it. We did it, folks.
Once again.
Why we always roll.
Hey, but we're on a mission from God. God guided the dice.
This is a mission here.
You throw up the detect magic and start to read what's happening here, and you can sense that what is coming through at this point is this overwhelming aura of conjuration that is always present over Ulcida's ring is now concentrating over the 5 gates that are still standing. It's not particularly focused on any one of them. But what's pushing through is not a teleportation conjuration. What you are sensing is an elemental conjuration. That school of magic largely does 3 things. Summon creatures being the most obvious, teleportation being the lesser known one, but it also can conjurate aspected elemental energy directly. It's different from an evocation like a fireball, where you are just kind of shooting a blast of functionally just a heat wave at something. It's why fireball doesn't like set things on fire ever. It's not really fire. But a conjuration spell, which I believe Produce Flame is actual elemental fire energy. This is that, but aspected not to fire, but seemingly just to everything. And as Rasheen touches the amber encased wasp to Vengegate, you see the face of the gate fade into this white wall of mist, just like Dreamgate before it.
How are those energies, Resme?
How are they?
And then it explodes. Out from Vengegate comes an eruption, a swirling vortex of energy. Fire, ice, crackling lightning, even whirling sprays of this acidic mist of the energy itself whip around the room in the blink of an eye, filling the whole of the space within the chamber. Everybody make me a reflex save.
Oh, my favorite.
Reflex save.
Wow, that really rolled far.
Ooh, I'll take that 18.
Yeah, I got a 17. Man, we're cruising.
Okay. So, Valentina.
45.
45 is a regular failure. Kaladar,
I'm failing. I got 42.
42 is a regular failure, buddy.
41.
41 is a regular failure. Roshin,
47.
47 is a success.
Hey.
And the rest.
I was waiting for it.
44.
44 is a regular failure. So all the regular failures are going to take 44 points of damage. Unless you have some kind of skill
Rings?
effects that you are going to take half. This is evenly split between acid, cold, fire, electricity, and poison.
Okay.
So any resistances you
I
have
have-
up to like 8, you will get to have all of them.
Okay,
that
cool.
was-
Okay, up to
Say
8.
it one more
So,
time.
How many?
That's 44 damage. If you resist any element up to like a maximum of 8, you can take that off the damage because you're getting hit by 5 elements
It was
simultaneously.
acid,
Okay.
cold,
Okay.
fire. What else was it?
Acid, cold, fire, electricity, and poison.
so
And I'm taking half?
And you succeed. You're taking half, yes.
Okay.
Remind me, improved evasion brings my degree of success up 1.
Improved evasion, yeah, I believe you'll be taking half.
Okay.
I think you just straight up take half on a failure. So, because there are other effects on a failure, which is that everybody but Roshin is yanked to the fountain at the center of Ulcida's ring. This whirling storm, this tornado around the chamber, bodily pulling all of you into the center.
Yoink.
Everyone want to roll me perception for initiative?
yeah, why not?
Let's do it. Might as well get some temp HP. Gerkahach! Boom! Actually, I think only, no, Buddy's close enough too, because you're a bit. So Resme and Buddy are within the 20-foot emanation, I think.
Okay. Yeah, we'll say everyone gets it. Valia is outside and upstairs, so she's far enough away that she is up the stairs. So, Resume, what's your total here?
What am I getting from you?
You're getting +4 from me.
Then that's a 44.
44, Roshi? This is literally just for ordering you guys.
Okay, fair enough. That's going to be 45.
45. Buddy?
35.
35. Kaladar?
Kaladar's very slow. You got a 36.
36. Hey, that was buddy. Valentina?
I rolled a 3.
Okay, right in the middle. So, Roisin, what do you do? This storm is incredibly powerful, but you can see that Vengegate is still wide open. That mist is now replaced by a torrent of elements that is pouring through into the chamber. But no creatures or anything have come with it.
And this is all coming from Vengegate?
From Vengegate, which is the one that you were directly in front of, yes.
Gotcha. Okay. First thing is I'm going to look around, just watch the enemies, the energy swirling around the room, and try to get a sense for if I open other gates, will it direct this energy out, or is this going to just pour more power
Make
into
me
us?
a religion check.
I have
Actually,
that.
I will make you a religion check. What's your modifier?
It's a 28.
28, okay.
You know your stuff.
You feel like opening the other gates, everything that Valia has told you, would be the only conceivable way that could release this pressure. Having this same elemental wave flowing out of 5 points instead of 1 would dramatically reduce how violent it is. Literally wider nozzle.
Perfect.
That said, Resume has all the keys.
Yep. So second action is going to be to move next to Resume.
Are we being actively pulled into the center, or is that just a one-time, like...
Basically, the intensity of that burst immediately pulled you all into the middle, and it's still you can feel it, but you can move against it.
Got it,
You can walk
Is
out.
any of that damage acid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes? Okay. So my regeneration's not on right now. I'm going to, second action, move next to Resume and shout out, "Open the gates, all of them. We have to vent this place." And she's going to take the box from Resume and open it.
Okay.
All right.
So I have an open box in my
Resume, yeah,
hand.
you have this open box with all the portal keys in front of you here.
Resume is going to look at the effect in the middle. Does it look like an effect I could dispel?
It is an overwhelming confluence of pure magical energy. It could be dispellable, but it is clearly incredibly powerful.
Okay. God, I only have one other one on me. I'll pull out the one to
They're not all in the box?
I think she only brought the ones that you needed, so she only brought, I guess, Vengegate and Dreamgate and whatever you have.
And I have the eye on me always.
The Eye of the Wise,
of the Wise, because I
which
use that.
That's
Is
Katapesh.
You
Katapesh,
don't
that's
have
the only-
Jewel Gate or Hunter's Gate?
No.
Okay, but you have 2 other ones. Jewel Gate and Hunter's Gate are the other 2 on the left side of the room. So you have the keys to the 2 on the east.
So she's gonna pull one of the keys out and make her way over that way.
Okay, and you can just move over there
Yeah, I'm
normally.
gonna move
you
over
just
there.
One action, pull it out, move over, and touch it.
And touch it and see if that helps.
And as you open Hunter's Gate, the nearest one here, there is an immediate reaction with a second explosion of a storm surging into the room. Everybody make a reflex save.
Oh, I got it wrong.
Critical failure.
And you suck.
Yikes.
Go around. Resume
27.
critically fails. You are not just yanked back into the middle of the room. You are pulled back as this blasts out with such force that you will actually land prone in the fountain in the center of the chamber. Roshin,
37.
37. Regular failure. Buddy,
41.
41 regular failure.
55.
55 regular success, which means you will take nothing with your improved evasion.
Yep.
And Valentina,
43.
43 is a regular failure. It is going to be 50 points of mixed damage, so 100 to Resume.
But I still get all my
You
resistances.
still get all your resistances. You'll get up to the full. With 10, you get up to 20 and all your resistances.
Okay.
Sorry, I can't math very well. I got a 45.
45?
It was 10 less than
so
that.
So you'll take half, so you'll take
Okay,
25
all right,
then.
my bad.
And as this bursts out and launches Resme back to the center of the room, Valentina.
Am I taking
You
out
were
something?
wrong!
Wait, was that another 44 of damage? Same damage as last time?
It was 50.
Okay.
So if you're taking half from your improved advantage, you take 25. And
Sorry.
Valentina, since you are relatively new to this, you get 3 actions on your turn, which at the moment, unless you have some kind of an ability that you feel like would be useful, you're not necessarily fighting something. This is just here to kind of track time.
Right.
So it's basically 6 seconds of whatever you would try to do. This one's pretty free form.
I mean, seems like opening the gates is not the wise thing to do.
No there, bud. That's a big
What
negative,
is your
sir.
proficiency in thievery, just out of curiosity?
Thievery, plus 24?
What's your, like the dot next to it, there's a TEM.
Oh, T.
You're just trained? Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. You feel like
I feel like
looking
I
at
was like
this-
ready to help and have some like just in like kick that in when someone else is like, hey, help me do a thing.
You can absolutely do that. You can hold. You can
Okay.
absolutely delay your
Yeah.
turn and wait until somebody else
All
needs
right.
you, and then you can step right back in after them.
I'll do that.
It's the Kaladar then.
So we're talking about thievery. I am a master of that.
You are a
so
master
if there was something you're about to
of
tell her,
thievery.
I would like to know what it was.
You are not even from this plane. You have portals here.
They know I'm super from
Yeah,
here.
I'm giving you knowledge you have.
Okay.
I can close my ears if you want.
You,
La 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 la.
you've seen a couple of portals before. This force, this conjuration, this energy is literally pouring through the portal. And you watch what happened as Volley activated. It does seem to close on its own after a time. But that said, portals can always be closed, regardless of whether or not they are necessarily designed or intended to. And with a good enough thievery check, you may be able to force a portal shut. You would need the key. Fortunately,
The
Resme
key
just
is-
landed right next to you in a fountain.
So the fountain has water in it, I'm guessing?
The fountain is actually just a dry fountain structure. There's
Okay.
no water flowing through.
So I don't need to help her from drowning.
No.
Okay. Hey, bud, can I get that key from you? Let me get that key
Sure.
real quick.
Don't
here,
open any
like-
more gates, it's bad.
Oh, no. We're going to close this one. I'm going to run over to the gate that is open, not the first one, but the second. Yeah,
The ones you just
exactly that
opened
one.
up. All right, move up and make me a thievery check.
Okay, then. Here we go. That's pretty good. That's a 38.
38 total.
Okay.
As you go to work on it with the key here, you are sure this is doable, but it's not something you are immediately able to just move up into quickly.
So I'm just going to keep going at it then.
Yeah,
I'm
you could
just gonna
definitely try on like
keep
on a
fiddling
future
with it.
turn. He's clearly
Yep.
working on it. You're sure that this is not beyond your capabilities, buddy.
Well, what are we doing down here? I'm gonna try and I think we should move. Evacuate. I heard that word
Give me a
before.
religion check real quick.
I know a lot about religion mostly, but not a very smart person. So, not a very smart person. 27.
Are you just trained in religion?
Yes.
Okay. You see again these brief, fleeting glimpses of whatever happened when you got struck by this lighting. The inside of a cathedral, this woman standing before you, the stained glass window, but it doesn't make any sense. There's no cohesion to it. If it means something, you don't know what it is.
Okay. Well, I don't know, dude. I don't know what it is. That's for sure. It might be best if we get out of here. It might just run itself dry after a little bit. I'm going to.
Buddy's approach. Just wait for it to get tired.
Well, I mean, maybe.
It'll tucker itself out.
Energy ain't infinite. I've heard that
So you
before
can
somewhere.
certainly like run into the stairwell and out up to where Valia is, all the way up the stairs, completely out of the room.
Yeah, that's
Because,
what I want to do. Well, I hate being the first one to leave, though. That kind of rankles me. I would kind of be. I'm standing right behind Valentina, and she's just naked out here. She don't have no armor.
Armor. She's got sleeves.
So I'm going to be kind of like. I'm going to try and kind of like herd her out of the room.
Resme is also laying on the ground next to you.
Can I try and pick up Resme?
Just say, just say.
Pick up Resme. Resme can do some crazy stuff. Like I don't want to
I've
mess up.
seen Resme do things.
It was probably planned on Resme's
If
part.
you want to, I'll let you use your turn. Valentina, you have your turn too.
Yeah.
If you let Buddy help you, the two of you can definitely just leave Alcida's ring and head to the stairs. You are super fast, and with his assistance, the storm pulling in at you, the two of you can overcome this like tornado wind that's sucking you in.
Yeah, we can't leave them.
We're not doing any good in here. What are you planning on doing? I look at you naked, and I look over here, just my armor's just sitting here sparkling away.
I want to go help Kaladar try to do the door. I know I'm not a thievery expert, but I do have
But you
a
can
cooperative
help.
nature, so I get a plus
Buddy,
one
are you still
circumstance.
here? What are you doing?
Well, if she
She's
kind
not
of like
coming with you.
sprints off, what?
She heads over
Yeah,
to
I'm sort of like
Kaladar.
I'm just
Well,
sort of dismissive.
fine. And I will pick up Resume.
As you haul Resme out of the room, she's prone. I'll just let you do it. And this isn't like a strict combat, so we're not like strictly beholden to actions. You pick her up and come out of the hallway, where you see, of course, this storm is violent enough that some of this energy, some of this fire, these cold winds are shooting up the stairs. And Valia is at this first landing, her hands up in front of her face, kind of like pressed back against the wall. Buddy, what in the nine hells is happening?
Well, there's a gas leak down there. No good.
Make me a
Should've checked the
thievery check,
pipes.
Valentina. Take your +4 from cooperative nature to aid Kaladar.
Nope, here's me this.
Mathing.
Yep.
That's all we have calculators.
That's right.
42.
Big
42.
mod. What?
42?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aid.
That checks
Aid.
out.
Really good
so
aid
with
right
you
there.
coming over a 42
Hang on. I'm listening it for you.
with Vol-
She's
I have
about
the
to come
answer.
just smack it down.
she is
for me.
definitely going to come in and help you. And with the two of you together, with her kind of supporting you, letting you force this, you absolutely use the key and guide the magic in here and force Hunter's Gate shut, leaving just Venge Gate open here. And at the as you shut that one, the storm continuing to whirl within the chamber. Everybody make me a reflex save.
Yay.
Thank you, buddy. Oh, are we
Every-
making one
every
even though we're out in the hallway?
Not Buddy and Resume. Buddy and Resume. You make me one. You're 1 degree of success better
Oh,
for
okay,
you two out in the hall.
Where?
Oh, look at you.
Oh, it's a good thing we're 1 degree of success
All right,
better. My goodness.
Valentina, what you got?
33.
33 is a
No, that's that's right.
33 is a critical failure. So as you shut this gate, you're kind of pouring all your force here, and the movement of that pressure, you've kind of really pushed yourself into this, throws you back from this force now from Venge Gate, landing you prone in the center of the fountain. Kaladar?
I rolled a 20 on the die, which means I got a 52.
Oh yeah, you're also fine.
Can I catch her as she goes back?
It's cool. I got Kip up immediately, so I'm basically on my feet
I
already.
did critically succeed
Yeah, you
on the
could've
die
succeed.
and
If you want, I will give you with a nat 20 there. You can catch her, but you will not avoid all the damage.
all right. I catch her,
Okay.
so we're just like
You
I'm
grab
hanging on the door
Valentina.
and hanging onto her. We're
Valentina's
doing the
taking-
like the
Not a ton of door to grab onto.
yeah, the helicopter thing. You got it.
Valentina, you're gonna take the full damage. You're gonna take half of the
fine.
damage, but you're both gonna stay there. We'll go to Roshi because you're in the room.
46. Woo!
Regular.
Found it. I think I found it.
The magic number.
Buddy in the hallway.
30.
30 is a critical failure, so it's gonna be a regular failure. Resume.
I got a nat 20 for a
Yeah, buddy,
47.
Nat 20 crew.
Look at these 20s in here.
Dang, we gotta roll out. We gotta yell out the nat 20s though, so we know.
I had to get me an acid ring, man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be total damage 34 this time around. So Valentine, you're taking the 34. Kaladar, you're taking 17. Roshni's taking 17, whatever resistance is. Buddy, you are taking 68. Or no, regular failure because you're outside, so
Yeah.
34. Yeah, 34.
17 minus.
So I have I resistance to fire and electricity 10.
Yeah.
So you
On
would
my
get- if you're
half, do I get
taking-
half of that resistance as well, or
Well, since you're taking half, so you're taking 17, the most you get is like 3 of each, so let's say you take 11. Because it's evenly split, so like
Yeah.
you're only really
Right,
getting,
that's
like,
what I'm- yeah.
taking 3 shock damage. Roshin.
Alrighty. So I saw them run up with the key and close the gate, so. Alright, and just stagger my way back to Venge Gate with the stupid key in my hand. Not really very one for technical movements with this beefy gauntlet I've got on. But I'm hoping by studying the gate and with my knowledge of religion, I might be able to discern the workings enough to be able to close it with the key.
Give me a religion check.
Okay.
Synchronized.
That's not good.
37.
What's your proficiency in religion?
Expert. I lost a little bit while I was hauling trees down to the logging
Looking
camp.
out at this, as you reach out and think to yourself what you could do, with everything that you know about these gates, you're sure this is divine energy in nature, but if there's any hints in this gate, you just aren't trained enough to understand. You don't have the proficiency to do this.
Okay. Kaladar, it's here when you're ready for it.
She's just like smacking it against the gate.
Help!
So Resme out in the hall.
I'm gonna hold because there's really not a whole lot I can do here.
And Kaladar, my good friend.
I'll run over there.
Valentine, are you going with him?
I'm
Are you
like,
young
we're
gang?
still like half attached to each other. We're just
So
like,
yeah, I'll bring both of you, and Valentina roll first because you have your powerful cooperative nature aid here. Give me your thievery check. We'll just say like this happened.
39.
Yeah. So cooperative nature now gives you that fat bonus, and you are an expert in thievery.
For what it's worth, I got a 36 without a
36.
bonus.
With your bonuses together, and Roshin there kind of helping, the three of you can struggle bust this thing closed. It's difficult. It's challenging. It definitely takes you notably more force to close than Hunter's Gate. But as you seal Avenge Gate, the storm whirling within Alcida's ring blows down to the only outlet it has left, the stairwell leading upstairs.
Rough.
So, as you in the stairwell, I mean, you've already been getting blasted by it. It's coming into gates and going out the stairwell. It doesn't just dissipate and disappear. It's again like a balloon. This energy rushes out up the stairs and over a few seconds dissipates in Alcida's ring. The ground is marred with scorch marks and bites of frost, as well as several places where the acid has bitten and scored away sections of the mosaic tiles and chunks out of the wall. None of you, I imagine, are in fantastic condition.
I look horrible.
But as it blows by, that seems to be the end for the moment.
I think we should have some vents installed in this place.
Seems like a good idea, bud. Yeah.
You don't say.
Oh, Resme, you look awful.
Resme, Buddy, and
Yeah.
Valia come into the room, all of them a fair bit burnt and frozen and shocked.
Soskarit, and just rush her hand over all of you, and you're all gonna get a chunk of health back.
Moment
Did you
of
just
renewal.
slap all of us?
Yeah, moment of renewal.
We'll do that.
Three
math.
Stooges style.
We'll do that math in a moment.
Yeah.
But as everyone comes in and touches the glowing magical beacon that is Roshin for a moment here, and you feel yourselves, not this rush of positive energy, but just as if you'd rested for weeks, if not months, revitalized and renewed.
That's my favorite.
Valia decides, well, that was much more dramatic than I was expecting, but it worked. It seems like it.
You call that working, bud?
Oh, did it work now? Is that what you think?
Detect
Well, it was a
magic.
lot worse
Did it
than I
work?
thought it was going to be, but it would have been dramatically worse had it had more time to build up and happens when we hadn't expected.
You sound like those weather forecasters that kind of change their mind after the weather's already happened. You know that, right?
I said it was going to release the pressure. I didn't know what form it was going to take. I didn't know it was
Valia.
going to be so powerful.
Valia, this isn't your fault. You didn't do anything wrong. You made a reasonable assumption about something we know absolutely nothing about.
At least, well,
Can I tease her just a little bit longer?
No, because you sent me over to the gate and got me exploded. Again.
See, isn't it fun to go and read me about it, though?
but that, if the ring lasted thousands of years before now, hopefully then letting that release. I may want to use the gates a bit less, but
A bit less, yes. We'll use the gates a bit less.
that gives us plenty of time to figure out how to stave this off in a more measured manner, perhaps. And at that, just a little muted through the stairwell as it rings down, you hear the low tones of a horn blowing. A super powerful one, for the sound to echo all the way down the stairwell to Alcida's ring. There's another thing that Marcus Solomar insisted be installed if he was taking castellanship of the Citadel. Citadel Altarian's alarm is blowing.
Figures.
To be fair, it was at most a week away.
Kalidar, you hear this, but barely. It's almost distant to you. You feel what's at first almost dizzying as the whole of the room seems to sort of pull away from you, as you feel yourself almost being lifted out, near weightless.
So you'll see Kalidar sort of starting from his like the in like near his chest. These little creeping like webs sort of creep out from his armor and begin to cocoon him. And he's like, "Oh yeah, bud, I gotta go for a minute," and it just wraps him up like a cocoon. Fairly slow at first, like you fall asleep, slow at first and then rapidly at first.
Okay?
And I don't have time to respond. It just happens, and he is wrapped up.
Nice cocoon.
I'll be back soon. Yeah. All right.
Well, Kalidar, you look.
Wait, it's kind of important what's going on right now.
Well,
He
What's in the
didn't
world?
seem
Harassments
too
are so
alarmed.
weird.
Hang still for a moment. The cocoon twitches a little.
Is he going to turn into a butterfly?
Oh, that's gross.
And it's there that we will leave the Age of Ashes epilogue for today.
I don't understand Pharasmans.
That's what I just said. I don't get them. Melanians make so much more sense.
We'll continue this adventure next week. Now that we have gotten the full of episode 1 and the premiere that we were meant to have out here. Next week, Friday evening, you can catch it live at twitch.tv/UGT show. An Undeniably Good Time. That's our new network where you're going to find a whole variety of tabletop content, Pathfinder streams, and adventures. You give me the stare of terror here.
Me? Oh no, I'm just. He has to just sit here for the whole outro.
He chose this.
He did. No one twisted
Thank
his
you
arm
for
on
joining us. Those of you who are here live for the second half of our impromptu premiere show on a Sunday. And thank you for everyone watching this later on YouTube or in the Twitch VODs or hearing it even on the podcast. Age of Ashes is back, everyone. And boy,
Are we ready?
are things happening.
Woo, woo.
Good night. See you next week.